Chapter 29-20. Everyone spat out blood in the air. Damn it, impossible. The three of them had ugly expressions. The other party had actually sent them flying. How was that possible? What did the other party do? The prodigy of the blue ghoul race screamed. The ghost sword that she had conjured was burned mercilessly, turning into a wisp of smoke and disappearing into the sky. Damn it, the nine-yang sword technique. He had used the nine-yang sword technique. Indeed, the sword chi on Lin Xian's body danced in the air like a flaming divine sword. There was a flaming sword in his hand that was incomparably dazzling. With a swing of the sword, it swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Damn it, this guy's strength is actually so strong. The prodigy of the blood moon race wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. The other 2 prodigies also had gloomy expressions. It seemed that they had to take out some trump cards. Otherwise, they would really have to let this brat continue to be arrogant. The 3 of them planned to use their trump cards. 1 pound. Lin Xian snorted coldly and prepared to attack. However, at that moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded. Blood covered his body as he entered the 2nd street. What was going on? What did that mean? Everyone was stunned when they heard the voice. Lin Xian stopped in his tracks. The 3 prodigies opposite him were also bewildered. Who was it? Come out if you're pretending to be mysterious. Crazy roars sounded, but no one came out. The cultivators of Immortal Palace and the Archean creatures also looked in all directions. Blood covered his body as he entered the 2nd street. The voice sounded again. It sounded 3 times in a row before disappearing. At that moment, not only Lin Xian sighed, but everyone in Sky Flame City also heard it. However, they were all very puzzled. What did that mean? They understood that blood covered his body, but what did the 2nd street mean? Which street were they on right now? Was it the 1st street? Also, who was the person who spoke? They didn't know any of this. Now they finally sensed the strangeness of Sky Flame City. The voice was probably from a mysterious existence in Sky Flame City. We'd better follow it. The Fire Spirit Cave was the first to speak. The other 10,000 ancient races followed suit. After a fruitless discussion, the humans decided to follow the other party's instructions. However, they were unwilling to use their own blood. This was especially so when the 10,000 ancient races started attacking the human race in a frenzy. In an instant, an extremely tragic battle broke out. Lin Xian also came back to his senses. Blood all over my body? Just as well, I'll use your blood to dye my entire body. I'll enter the 2nd street. Courting death. The 3 geniuses were infuriated too. Originally, they wanted to kill this brat in front of them. Now that there was an order from Skyfire City, they naturally wanted to kill him. All of a sudden, the 4 of them started fighting again. Behind them, the dark red godly dragon also came to Peacock and the other's side and said, "This should be some kind of rule, we better do as he says. Follow me to kill those ancient lifeforms. Use their blood to dye our bodies red." Peacock, Hu Yidao, and Gui Li led the Immortal Palace's martial artists and followed the dark red divine dragon. Courting death. On the other side, the 3 archaic royal race beings were also charging over. A great battle broke out and it was extremely tragic. Ah! The Blood Moon race's prodigy screamed. The 9 moons in the sky were shattered by the sword. His body was also split in half, and his blood dyed the sky red. Lin Xian charged into the sky, allowing the blood to splash on his body. At the same time, he clenched his left hand into a fist and punched out. The golden fist turned into 10 golden crows, shining in the sky and enveloping the Blue Ghoul race's prodigy. The Blue Ghoul race's prodigy screamed crazily. The other party's 9 sons' divine fire already countered her, and now he was targeting her with all his strength. This caused her to be heavily injured in an instant. The 30 or so ghostly figures she summoned were instantly turned into ashes, and the ghostly chi on her body was also ignited. Her aura was greatly reduced and she spat out a mouthful of blood. Her body split open and it once again dyed Lin Xian's body. "You're the only one left." Lin Xian turned around and stared at the Yiksha race's prodigy. Courting death. The Yiksha race's prodigy roared. Instead of retreating, he charged over again. This guy was indeed very strong. He was very strong and the weapon in his hand had the power to split the sky and earth. With one strike he sent many sword chi flying, and he quickly charged in front of Lin Xian. Kill. With a furious roar, the killing intent on his body was shocking and overwhelming. His green hair danced in the wind and turned into 100,000 poisonous snakes that quickly coiled around Lin Xian. Scram. Lin Xian waved his hand like a peerless god of war. His eyes were very terrifying. his gaze swept across and countless sword chi danced in the air, piercing through all the poisonous snakes. The two of them exchanged blows, and it was as if the entire world was about to be destroyed. Billions of rays of terrifying light bloomed from their bodies. At this moment, everyone who was fighting started trembling. Too terrifying. How could the Wuxia king be so terrifying? The Wuxia race was violent and ferocious, and the prodigies of their race were very powerful. The dark red divine dragon also muttered softly. But he wasn't worried, because he believed that Lin Xian was enough to deal with everything. As expected, Lin Xian's expression was calm. He knew how to use the nine-yang sword technique to fight against the Wuxia race's prodigy. The two of them exchanged blows as if two worlds were colliding. Terrifying light shone in all directions. Every inch of space was filled with power, and it kept shattering. This was a destructive disaster. Everyone retreated frantically again. Many Archean creatures were affected, and they exploded into bloody mists. The others also watched the battle in horror. In the endless light, the two of them were like immortals and demons, and they kept exchanging blows. After exchanging more than 30 blows, suddenly, a sword light transformed into a giant dragon and directly pierced through the Wuxia prodigy's body. The Wuxia prodigy screamed crazily. He felt his power disappearing. Terrifying flames enveloped him. Damn it! The Wuxia prodigy was very decisive. He self-destructed his body and reactivated it in the distance. However, Lin Xian did not hold back. He raised his long sword high in the air and kept shaking it. The flames from all directions quickly gathered in his direction, forming a fire qilin on the tip of his sword and pouncing forward. Oh! At this moment, the Wuxia prodigy was finally terrified. It was as if he wasn't facing a human, but an expert from the fire qilin cave. This made him scream loudly. In the next moment he was swallowed by the fire qilin. The light between heaven and earth disappeared, and Lin Xian came bathed in blood like a peerless god of war. With a wave of his hand, the bodies of countless Archean creatures below exploded, and the blood covered the immortal palace's cultivators. Oh! Those prodigies roared crazily while the others ran away crazily. Run! Demon King! He's a demon. They didn't dare to compete with him anymore. In an instant, the three Archean royal families ran away without a trace. Only Lin Xian and the immortal palace's cultivators were left. They looked at Lin Xian excitedly. The immortal palace's leader was mighty. Chapter 29-21. He wasn't the only one. Yi Wudao, No Flower, Gu Santong, Murong Qingqing, and Xin Jingqiu were all covered in blood. They were also puzzled. The prodigies of the 10,000 ancient races were even more so. They were surrounded by countless human corpses. Buzz, buzz. On the street, the buildings on the left suddenly burst into flames. The flames emitted mysterious runes. They illuminated the world. I know. Let's go in. The prodigies of the fire qilin cave were overjoyed when they saw this scene. They led their people and charged into the burning buildings. Soon they were engulfed by the merciless flames. Temple Master, what should we do? Hui Dao and the others looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "Follow me." He also charged into the flaming buildings. Behind him, the other immortal palace cultivators also followed. The dark red dragon swung its tail and roared. It tore through the flames and charged in. In the next moment they were wrapped in flames. However, they didn't feel like they were burning. Instead, it was as if they had passed through a spatial barrier. In an instant, they passed through the flaming eaves buildings and arrived on the street again. It was still a vast street with tall flaming buildings on both sides. It was almost exactly the same as before. However, there were no corpses around. This meant that this wasn't the street from before. Perhaps this was the second street that Yi Wudao spoke of. Not only Lin Xian but the others also came to the second street. The Yi family cultivators surrounded Yi Wudao, saying, "What should we do?" They looked at Yi Wudao. Yi Wudao's sacred body shone brightly. He said in a deep voice, "Don't act rashly. Observe first." Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu were also with the cultivators of their holy lands. In the fire qilin cave, a group of powerful ancient creatures walked together. Among them, there were a few ancient creatures with monstrous flames on their bodies. The fire qilin pattern shone brightly. It was very terrifying. Among them, one was the most dazzling. It was a youth who looked to be only 15 or 16 years old. He had delicate features like the boy next door. However, the flames on his body were too terrifying. There was a qilin totem on his neck. He was the 7th generation. The surrounding prodigies of the fire qilin cave were very respectful to this handsome youth. The youth's eyes were red, and the image of a Qilin appeared. He looked around and a smile appeared on his face. Interesting. It was indeed interesting. It seemed that this wasn't the final destination. How many streets were there like this? According to the ancient Emperor's Qilin's words, they should first investigate the surrounding buildings. Yes, 7th generations the fire Qilin caves ancient creatures Titasess. Their bodies were also covered in flames. One of the women, who was about 20 years old, looked at the surrounding flames and squinted her beautiful eyes. Es Lord it's the flower yet. Ti de Ching Ching. After the beautiful woman heard this, she laughed tenderly. This was natural. Their fire Qilin cave also cultivated fire cultivation methods. They's flower thousand, flame thousand. Ching Ching naturally wouldn't tell us everything. But no matter what, we can't let them get the heavenly flame this time. It must be the divine phoenix ridge. The beautiful woman's eyes shone with a bright light. There was even a phoenix's image on her body that soared into the sky. Of course. The other prodigies of the divine emperor ridge were also full of confidence. So what if it was the fire Qilin cave? The divine phoenix ridge had never been afraid of anyone. Nest of 10,000 dragons. A group of dragon-like creatures occupied that place and no one dared to approach. Some of them were in the state of a dragon. Some had human dragon heads or dragon wings. In short, the dragon blood on their bodies was overflowing, making people faint with just a glance. At the front was a young man. He had a handsome face and wore a yellow robe. There was no dragon on him at all. Those who didn't know better would think that he was a human youth. However, the surrounding ancient creatures of the nest of 10,000 dragons were very respectful to this young man. Because this was their young king. Fire Dragon King. This title was incredible because it wasn't a simple compliment. The other party was really an invincible king. A very young invincible king. Moreover, he had an extremely strong bloodline of dragons. This was definitely a young and extremely terrifying genius. At this moment, the Fire Dragon King's eyes flickered. Beside him, there was a flying dragon circling there. The flying dragon's eyes emitted an incomparably strange light as if it was investigating some kind of situation. Gradually, the strange runes in the flying dragon's eyes disappeared. The Fire Dragon King beside him asked in a deep voice, "How is it?" "Not good, Your Majesty. There is a 9th generation grandson on the Divine Phoenix Ridge's side." "What about the Fire Qilin Cave?" Hearing those words, the other ancient beasts also asked the same question. The flying dragon's expression was very solemn. The Fire Qilin Cave was even more extraordinary this time. A 7th generation grandson had come. What? A 7th generation grandson? As soon as these words were said, the ancient creatures of the nest of 10,000 dragons were also moved. Even the Fire Dragon King frowned, and a piercing cold light burst out from his eyes. Around him, it instantly turned into a world of flames that could devour everything. Damn it, this Fire Qilin Cave's ambition was really big. They actually sent out a 7th generation grandson. If someone was here and heard this, they would definitely scream in fear and faint. This was because Bai Qianshan, the 10th generation grandson, was already very terrifying. As soon as he appeared, he swept in all directions, suppressing the humans so much that they couldn't even raise their heads. And now, a 9th generation grandson had walked out of the Divine Phoenix Ridge. What was even more shocking was that the Fire Qilin Cave had sent a 7th generation grandson. How powerful and terrifying was this? No wonder even a powerful existence like the nest of 10,000 dragons had a solemn expression. So what if he was a 7th generation grandson? Our Fire Dragon King was not afraid of him. At this moment, an ancient creature snorted coldly. The others also agreed. Hope was restored in their eyes as they looked at the young figure in front of them and said excitedly, "If this time they didn't send a 7th generation grandson, but a Fire Dragon King came, his strength would definitely be terrifying. He wouldn't be weaker than the other party's 7th generation grandson." Moreover, the Fire Dragon King was also of the fire lineage and had dragon blood in his body. Perhaps he would obtain a great opportunity in Heavenly Fire City. All of this made the creatures of the nest of 10,000 dragons full of confidence. The young Fire Dragon King even had an evil smile on his face. A 7th generation grandson? I'm looking forward to fighting him. I hope that when the time comes he won't disappoint me. Your Majesty, do you want to investigate the humans? The flying dragon in the sky asked as it circled in the sky. There's no need. There's nothing to see on the human side. There are only a few top-notch ones. Among them, South Emperor shouldn't dare to make a move against us easily. Chapter 29-22. According to his speculation, their strength was about the same, and Lin Xian was able to kill Bai Qianshan, so his strength surpassed that of the 10th generation grandson. However, no matter how strong he was probably only at the level of the 9th generation grandson. Compared to me, he was far too weak. At this point, his eyes were filled with disdain. After the other ancient creatures heard this, they also sneered. That's right, how could a mere human be compared to our nest of 10,000 dragons? On the fiery red street, Lin Xian stood there with a golden light in his eyes. Soon he sighed in his heart. It seemed that the situation was very similar to the first street. Although his soul was not suppressed, his vision was. He couldn't see the end at a glance. Therefore, if he wanted to know what was ahead, he had to see it for himself. Lin Xian walked forward, and the dark red dragon and the others followed. After walking for about 2 hours, another figure appeared in front of them. Is that girl? The dark red dragon was surprised. Lin Xian also smiled and shouted, Xiu. The people in front of them were from the purple glow Holy Land. Shen Jingqiu puffed up her cheeks and was about to walk forward or backward. Suddenly she heard a shout from behind. It was Big Brother Lin Xian's voice. Shen Jingqiu was very happy. She quickly turned around. Big Brother Lin Xian, it's really you. She threw herself into Lin Xian's arms. Behind them, the people from the purple glow Holy Land also greeted respectfully. Greetings, Hallmaster Lin. Lin Xian smiled and nodded. Then he asked, Qiu, were you injured in the previous battle? How could that be? Big Brother Lin Xian, I'm very strong. Shen Jingqiu looked up and said. Then she frowned. However, it was really despicable to let blood stain her body. As a girl, she naturally liked to be beautiful and clean. She was not willing to do such a thing. However, in order to enter the second street, she gritted her teeth. Let's go and take a look. Lin Xian held Shen Jingqiu's hand and walked into the distance. The people of the purple afterglow Holy Land also let out a sigh of relief. That was great. With Lin Xian here, they would be even safer. Behind him, 2 warriors from the Great Sage followed. Where's Little White? Let him come out and play with me. I brought a lot of spirit fruits. Shen Jingqiu took out a few spirit fruits from her storage ring. As soon as the fragrance came out, the little white monkey immediately came out of the black earth. With a whoosh, it pounced into Shen Jingqiu's arms, hugged the spirit fruit and happily gnawed on it. Little White, you can't just eat. Look around and see if there are any treasures. Shen Jingqiu also knew that the Snow White monkey's ability to find treasures was superb. Therefore she wanted him to take a look. Lin Xian and the rest were also looking forward to it. The little white monkey looked around and shrugged helplessly. This scene made many people sigh. Could it be that there were no treasures in Skyfire City? It shouldn't be. This damn monkey was only interested in eating recently. It probably didn't have any spirit fruits or spirit herbs. There must be other treasures. The dark red dragon said from the side. After everyone heard this, they also came to a realization. Indeed, for example, strange flames, weapons and cultivation techniques, the little white monkey probably wouldn't investigate them. It seemed that they still had to search patiently. After walking for about half an hour, the little white monkey suddenly jumped up and pointed at a pavilion in front of them, chirping. What was going on? Lin Xian waved his hand and stopped. He frowned. Could it be that there was something in front of them? The others were also excited. Great, there was finally a treasure. Could it be a spirit herb? The spirit herbs here were really valuable. One of them was probably comparable to the king herbs outside. They were very excited as they looked forward. They saw a half-open door of a building in front of them. It was pitch black inside and they couldn't see what was inside. Suddenly Lin Xian's pupils constricted. Not good. He threw out a punch. Inside the pitch-black door, a cold light suddenly flickered. Lin Xian realized that it was the light of an eye. There was something inside. Was there someone? He didn't know. It was better to strike first. A terrifying light shone in all directions, causing the surrounding space to shatter. Everyone was surprised. They couldn't understand why Lin Xian wanted to attack. However, the dark red dragon and Shen Jingqiu saw it. The two of them were also surprised. Whoosh! From the huge building, a fiery red figure rushed out and pounced at Lin Xian. With a bang, the figure was sent flying. He hit it. There was something. Something actually appeared in the building. Behind them, the warriors of Immortal Palace and Purple Dawn Holy Land also exclaimed. They didn't notice it at all. Fortunately, it was Lin Xian. Otherwise, they would have been attacked inexplicably. Damn it, who was it? How dare they hide in the building and attack us? Could it be someone from the 10,000 Archean races? It must be them. These people gritted their teeth. In their opinion, only the 10,000 Archean races could be so vicious. Lin Xian stopped and frowned because he realized that it wasn't someone from the 10,000 Archean races in front of him. It was a cheetah. However, it was different from the cheetahs outside. The cheetah was covered in flames as if it wasn't a real creature. However, at this moment it was hit by Lin Xian. The cheetah's body split open and blood flowed out. This made Lin Xian know that the other party was indeed a real creature that existed in Skyflame City. Moreover, it was hidden in the building. This wasn't a good sign. This was the only place in the city. Was there a mysterious creature? Were there any in the other buildings? Was there something even more terrifying? Su Chen thought of many things in an instant. Moreover, what surprised him even more was that the other party's body didn't turn into a bloody mist after receiving his punch. Instead, it only split open. This was too inconceivable. One had to know how terrifying his punch was. Ordinary invincible kings wouldn't be able to withstand it. If it was an almighty, they wouldn't be able to withstand it at all and would probably turn into a bloody mist instantly. Could it be that the cheetah's body was the same as that of an invincible king? The others also realized this point. In an instant, everyone was in a state of panic. However, what made them feel at ease was that along the way, only one cheetah had appeared in this place. It seemed that even if there were such fiery creatures, there shouldn't be many of them. The dark red creature waved its dragon claw and grabbed the corpse of the cheetah. Let me see what exactly this thing is. Although the cheetah was dead, the flames on its body didn't disappear. The dark red dragon stretched out its dragon claw and the flames actually wanted to burn its dragon claw. With a rumble, dragon aura wrapped around the dragon claw and directly sent the flames flying. It forcefully snatched the cheetah's corpse. At the same time, it was very dissatisfied. Damn it, where the hell was this place? The flames were actually so terrifying. Indeed, an ordinary person probably wouldn't be able to withstand such a flame attack. However, the dark red dragon was a little excited. Why do I feel like this cheetah's corpse is even more delicious than those ancient creatures? It was drooling. Lin Xian shook his head helplessly. He glanced at the cheetah's corpse and didn't pay it any more attention. Chapter 29-23. He found that a red crystal had fallen out of the body of the flame cheetah. With a wave of his hand, Lin Xian caught the red crystal in his hand. What pure fire elemental energy! Lin Xian was surprised. It should be something similar to a demon core. The dark red dragon glanced at it. Lin Xian tried to absorb it. He was very surprised. It was much stronger than ordinary demon cores. After saying that, a dragon shadow appeared behind him. The dragon opened its mouth and directly rushed in the thorny red crystal. This dragon shadow was the Great Dragon Sword Soul. Lin Xian now would infinitely improve the Great Dragon Sword Soul as long as he had the chance. After swallowing the red crystal, Lin Xian did not waste the flames on the corpse. He directly used the Nine Suns' divine fire to merge with it and devoured it. To improve the power of the Nine Suns' divine body was too little. It would be great if there were more of these flame beasts. Lin Xian felt a little regretful. He opened his heavenly secret divine eyes and looked around, hoping to find a few more flame beasts. However, after a round of investigation, there were no other beasts. Let's go. Lin Xian shook his head. It seemed that these beasts could only be encountered by chance. The group went on the road again. After flying for another hour, another figure appeared in front of them. It was not the 10,000 ancient herbs. The dark red dragon glanced at it. Xin Jingqiu, who was next to him, exclaimed. It was the people of the Purple Glow Holy Land. Oh, the Purple Glow Holy Land. Lin Xian was surprised. The people of the Purple Glow Holy Land separated? One had to know that Xin Jingqiu was currently leading a group of Purple Afterglow Holy Land martial artists. Yes. Xin Jingqiu nodded. This time, in addition to me, there are a few top geniuses. Even the previous generation's holy sons and holy daughters appeared. They also led a group of disciples and left alone. So that was what was going on. Lin Xian nodded. He asked, so, do you still want to go? Before Xin Jingqiu could answer, the people in front had already found their traces. Who is it? Someone exclaimed. She is the holy maiden of our holy lands. Soon they noticed Xin Jingqiu and quickly walked over. Jingqiu, is that you? Were you hurt? Let me have a look. A group of people quickly flew over from the front. These people were surrounded by a mysterious purple aura. Among them there was a tall and handsome man. His eyes were burning as he stared at Xin Jingqiu. He asked with concern. Seeing this scene, the Immortal Palace's cultivators immediately frowned. All of them had unkind expressions. Who is this person? What was the meaning of this? He actually dared to have designs on their boss's woman? After all, Shen Jingqiu and their hall master had an unusual relationship. But now this person actually dared to poach him? They were so angry that they gnashed their teeth, wishing they could beat the other party into a pig head. The dark red divine dragon laughed as well. There would be a good show to watch. Lin Xian frowned slightly and looked at him. This young man was tall and had a handsome face. He wore a purple robe with clouds drawn on it. The purple aura on his body was abnormally rich, and his aura was even more powerful. He was far more powerful than ordinary saints and saintesses. He should not be the current saint. It seemed that he was the previous saint of the purple glow holy land. Lin Xian guessed in his heart. This person should be almost 400 years old. He was very powerful, but Lin Xian did not take him seriously. The tall young man continued. Jingqiu, this place is too dangerous and mysterious. There might be terrifying arrays and unknown existences. Why don't you come with me? With me around, I will definitely be able to protect your safety. I will definitely not let you come to any danger. This time, my grandfather gave me a few powerful Dharma artifacts. Even if I encounter those primordial geniuses, I will not be afraid. The tall young man was very confident. His grandfather was a very terrifying grand elder in the purple glow holy land. In this case, coupled with the tall young man's identity, if it were any other female cultivator, they would have eagerly agreed. However, Shen Jingqiu shook her head. No, I don't need your protection. Was he rejected? The purple glow holy land cultivators behind the tall young man also frowned. The tall young man was stunned. In the next moment, his gaze turned towards the person beside Shen Jingqiu. He finally saw Lin Xian. It's you? The tall young man's pupils shrank, revealing a trace of astonishment. He knew about Lin Xian. The latter's terror had long since spread throughout the entire True Spirit continent. He had also seen Lin Xian a few times. Therefore, he recognized him with a single glance. Lin Xian was also coldly looking at the tall young man. Their gazes collided in the air, causing the void to shatter. The people of the purple glow holy land were extremely nervous. Lin Xian was a demonic godlike existence. He could even kill the 10th generation saint. Most likely, no one would be able to easily suppress him. So powerful. The previous generation saint of the purple glow holy land's heart was also beating wildly. The other party was indeed too powerful. Even the light god's gaze seemed to be able to pierce through him. In an instant, his face became incomparably gloomy. He also liked Shen Jingqiu and wanted to possess Shen Jingqiu. However, the relationship between Shen Jingqiu and this Lin Xian was not shallow. Moreover, Lin Xian was so powerful. This made him incomparably jealous. So what if you're powerful? This time, my grandfather gave me a few magical treasures. Once I use them, I don't believe I can't subdue you. The tall young man coldly snorted in his heart. However, he still wasn't willing to casually make a move against Lin Xian. His gaze once again retracted from Lin Xian and looked towards Shen Jingqiu. Jingqiu, you're too naive. You don't know how sinister people can be. Some people look good on the surface but have other ideas in their hearts. But I'm different. We both belong to the purple glow holy land. I'm absolutely sincere to you. Big brother Lin Xian, let's go. Before the previous generation saint finished speaking, Shen Jingqiu grabbed Lin Xian's big hand and walked forward. The two of them passed by the tall young man. The tall young man, the previous generation saint of the purple glow holy land, was stunned. His expression became incomparably ugly. A hint of cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. Damn it, he actually ignored me. He even held my hand in front of everyone. The previous generation saint's lungs were about to explode from anger. A terrifying aura erupted from his body. Feeling this aura, the surrounding people's faces changed. This person was so powerful. They didn't expect him to be so powerful. Lin Xian stopped in his tracks. He turned around and frowned. What? Are you going to make a move? A biting cold light appeared in his eyes, causing the previous generation saint's body to tremble and withdraw his aura. Very well, kid, I'll remember you. I don't know you. You're not qualified for me to remember you. Lin Xian turned around, pulled Shen Jingqiu and continued on their way. Behind them, the martial artists of Immortal Palace quickly followed. The dark red divine dragon also glanced at the previous generation saint and revealed a sinister smile. If you're looking for trouble, I'll eat you. Bus. He swung his dragon tail and followed. When Lin Xian and the others were far away, the martial artists behind the previous generation saint walked up. Why is this Lin Xian so arrogant? Chapter 29-24. Our Lord just doesn't want to fight with him. That's right, with our Lord and Supreme Elder's treasures, it's very easy to kill this kid. These people sneered. The tall youth's face was gloomy. Damn it, the other party was too arrogant. He actually dared to ignore him. He swore that as long as there was a chance he would definitely kill the other party. In front, Lin Xian, Shinjingqiu, the dark red divine dragon, and the others walked forward. Not long after they stopped again. They arrived in front of a palace. This was a very huge palace, as if it was a flame palace. It was incomparably majestic. There were many figures near the palace. There were humans and 10,000 ancient races. Obviously, these people had all entered the second street and arrived here. Seeing Lin Xian arrive, these people also turned their heads to look. In the next moment they cried out in alarm. Whether it was the human race or the 10,000 ancient races, after seeing Lin Xian, they all had an instinctive fear. Because Lin Xian's current reputation was simply too powerful. Other than some extremely top geniuses, no one dared to contend with him. Big Brother Xian. In the crowd, Murong Qingqing called out. She rushed over with the people of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground to meet up with Lin Xian. Lin Xian asked about Qingqing's previous situation, and then the three of them sat down cross-legged. What is this place? Lin Xian asked. Murong Qingqing arrived earlier, but she didn't know much about it. She said that this place was probably a treasure trove. Otherwise, it would be impossible for so many people to gather. And let's wait and see if there's a way to crack it. After some discussion, Lin Xian and the others decided to wait here. Gradually, more and more people walked over. Behind them, the previous saint of the Purple Dawn Sacred Ground also brought his people here. When they arrived and saw the huge flame palace, they were first amazed. When they saw Lin Xian and Shinjingqiu sitting at the side, their expressions changed. Especially the previous saint, his face was terrifyingly dark. However, he still didn't make a move. He snorted coldly and brought his people to the other side. Next, Yi Wudao, Gu Santong, Dustless, and the other young geniuses also arrived. Lin Xian greeted them. The people of the 10,000 ancient races also came. The three ancient theocrats were very powerful. In particular, the few figures that made Lin Xian change his expression. Their auras weren't very strong, but Lin Xian could sense that their bodies contained an extremely terrifying power. These people must have deliberately concealed their strength and cultivation. Golden runes flickered in Lin Xian's eyes as he took a deep breath. Leaf Daodenier, Dustless, and the other top human experts could also sense that, and were all staring at the newcomers. He's Tuzes. He had delicate features like the boy next door, but all of the Fire Qilin Cave's geniuses followed behind him respectfully. Along the way, the people of Fire Qilin Cave were incomparably powerful. Get lost. They occupied a very advantageous position, causing the other humans and ancient creatures below to flee one after another. At the same time, these people were surprised and looked at the 15 to 16-year-old youth. Who was this person? How could he lead the geniuses of Fire Qilin Cave? Could it be another 10th-generation grandchild? That was possible. Heavens, another 10th-generation grandchild had appeared. And this time, it was a 10th-generation grandchild of the ancient theocrats. Everyone exclaimed. On the Divine Emperor Ridge's side, a beautiful woman in her 20s also came. Her body was surrounded by a phoenix's shadow. After arriving, she stared at the 15 to 16-year-old youth of Fire Qilin Cave. Her eyes were filled with hostility. The youth turned his head, glanced at her, and no longer paid her any attention. This scene infuriated the 9th-generation Lord of the Divine Emperor Ridge. A fierce look appeared in her beautiful eyes. How dare he look down on her? How preposterous. However, before she could say anything, the phoenix's shadow on her body suddenly let out a cry and turned into a flaming phoenix. As soon as this aura appeared, it suppressed all directions and many people were directly pressed down. The primordial creatures trembled, and their eyes were filled with fear. How terrifying. The expressions of the people of Fire Qilin Cave also changed. What was going on? Was Divine Emperor Ridge going to make a move? Although they knew that there would be a battle in the future, the other party couldn't wait to make a move before they found the heavenly flame? Even the people of the nest of 10,000 dragons who had just arrived, changed their expressions. The young Fire Dragon King also narrowed his eyes. He first stared at the 9th-generation Lord of Divine Emperor Ridge. Then he looked at the 15 to 16-year-old youth of Fire Qilin Cave and sneered. On the side of the humans, their expressions changed. They were too powerful. These people from the ancient theocrats made them tremble and feel despair. Yi Wudao, the Alcade sage, Wuchen, and the others had solemn expressions. Lin Xian also took a deep breath, and a biting cold light burst out from his eyes. To be honest, even the people of Divine Emperor Ridge were stunned. Was their 9th generation lord really going to make a move? Just as they were about to ask, someone exclaimed, "No, look beside Lin Xian." Beside Lin Xian? What's going on? What happened? Everyone turned their heads. Previously, their gazes were attracted by the 15 to 16-year-old youth and the powerful woman. They didn't pay attention to Lin Xian at all. At this moment, after being reminded, they all turned their heads. In the next moment they screamed. Lin Xian was majestic and a beautiful woman with a face full of surprise. She also had a phoenix phantom around her body. It seemed like it was going to soar into the sky. This phoenix phantom wasn't made of flames but of 5 colors. A phoenix, another phoenix. Everyone was shocked, and so were the 10,000 ancient theocrats. Heavens, was this woman also a powerful existence of Divine Phoenix Ridge? On the other hand, the humans were dumbfounded. No, it was Murong Qingqing, the Jade Lake Saintess. They naturally knew Murong Qingqing, but they didn't expect such an unforeseen event to happen to Murong Qingqing. Not to mention these people, even Lin Xian, Shen Jingqiu and the others were surprised. Murong Qingqing was also stunned. It was rumored that the Jade Lake Saintess had the Phoenix bloodline. It seemed to have been confirmed before, but they didn't expect her bloodline to be so powerful. A man from the Dao-Yi Holy Ground said in a deep voice. He was the current holy son of the Dao-Yi Holy Ground. As soon as he spoke, everyone came to a realization. Yes, Murong Qingqing had the Phoenix bloodline. However, everyone thought that Murong Qingqing might have a trace of the Phoenix bloodline. But looking at it now, that wasn't the case. The other party's bloodline was probably very powerful and terrifying. Otherwise, it wouldn't have caused such a phenomenon. At Divine Phoenix Ridge, the 9th generation lord turned her head, her beautiful eyes emitting a biting cold flame. She stared at Murong Qingqing, and the ancient creatures behind her all exclaimed. Chapter 29-25. The 5-colored phoenix was a very rare existence among phoenixes. Their Divine Phoenix Ridge had 2 or 3 in the past, but now there was none. But now, there was actually someone with the 5-colored phoenix bloodline among the humans. This was really too unbelievable. For a moment, the people of Divine Emperor Ridge didn't dare to believe it. The 5-colored phoenix bloodline? How could it be? The Fire Dragon King was also very surprised. On the other side, the 7th generation of Fire Qilin Cave was also surprised. A piercingly cold light burst out from his clear eyes. Everyone's eyes were gathered on Murong Qingqing. Lin Xian was also surprised. What was a 5-colored phoenix? The dark red sacred dragon exclaimed. It was equivalent to the royal family of dragons. So terrifying. Lin Xian was surprised. Although he knew that Murong Qingqing had the phoenix bloodline, he didn't expect it to be of such a high grade. It was even taller than these ancient creatures from the Divine Emperor Ridge. Not good. If this was the case, would Qingqing be in danger? Lin Xian frowned. He immediately thought of this matter. You don't say. It was really possible. The dark red sacred dragon also whispered. Murong Qingqing formed a seal with her palm and quickly suppressed the phoenix phantom on her body. She knew that her phoenix bloodline should have resonated with these people of Divine Emperor Ridge. That was why such a situation occurred. She also looked at the 9th generation of Divine Emperor Ridge, and a strange light flashed in her eyes. She could feel the hostility in his eyes and even a trace of envy. Yes, envy. The other party was actually envious of her. This wasn't a good thing. Murong Qingqing felt that she was being stared at by a terrifying ancient royal family. So she smiled bitterly. The surrounding people were really shocked. Heavens, this Jade Lake Saintess was really amazing. Yes, she actually had such a high-grade phoenix bloodline. Do you think this is a good thing? How could Divine Phoenix Ridge allow a human to have such a high-grade phoenix bloodline? You mean, Divine Phoenix Ridge wants to make a move on her? That's for sure. Everyone was discussing, and at the same time some people sighed. As expected of someone who was with Lin Xian, he was still being hunted down. Lin Xian possessed the great dragon sword spirit and was hunted by countless experts. Now the woman beside him also possessed a top-notch bloodline. I'm afraid it won't be peaceful anymore. Boom, boom. An earth-shattering sound rang out as the fire godly palace in front of them changed. The flames on them rolled and condensed into 2 flame giants. Every one of them was indomitable, as if they were gods and devils, standing on both sides of the palace. The sudden appearance of the scene attracted everyone's attention once again. Everyone's gaze shifted from Murong Qingqing to the flame godly palace. Had there been any changes? The Fire Qilin Cave's 7th generation great master was delighted. The others also cried out in alarm. The Flame Dragon King and the 9th Generation Lord's eyes flickered as they stared ahead. Lin Xin, Murong Qingqing and the others also withdrew their thoughts. It seemed like the Flame Godly Palace was about to open. One's own line, the snow-white little monkey jumped out from Shen Jingxiu's embrace, looking very excited. It seemed like he had found some good treasures. The Immortal Palace's martial artists were delighted. The snow-white little monkey was an expert at finding treasures. His performance had given them confidence. It seemed like there was indeed something good in the palace. Everyone was delighted, but soon they began to tremble. Their eyes were filled with fear. Because a terrifying pressure was being emitted from the two flame giants, bringing with it a monstrous aura as if it was going to suppress the heaven and earth. Damn it, this aura, is it the aura of a saint? Why do I feel like they have the power of laws on them? Everyone was terrified. Lin Xin Yi Wudao, the Flame Dragon King, the 7th Generation Lord, everyone's expression changed. They felt an irresistible power. But fortunately, it was just the aura of the two flame giants, and it wasn't targeted at them. Otherwise they wouldn't be able to withstand it. So terrifying Heavenly Flame City was indeed mysterious. A palace could emit such an aura and it could even kill everyone. He wondered what kind of dangers awaited him inside. Lin Xian sighed inwardly. Opportunities were often accompanied by risks, and the greater the opportunity, the greater the risk. This was a principle that hadn't changed since ancient times. The Flame Dragon King, the 9th Generation Lord, and the 7th Generation Lord, these three archaic theocrats were also shocked. There was nothing they could do. Although they thought they were strong, the aura of the two flame giants was too powerful. They couldn't resist at all. Sure enough, everyone below the saint was an ant. The saying wasn't wrong at all. Who was the one who built Heavenly Flame City? Could it really be something that fell from the immortal world? They were extremely shocked. Just as they were guessing, a figure suddenly rose into the sky, turned into a hurricane and rushed forward. Not good, someone was going to beat them to it. Everyone's expression changed. The figure in the sky was extremely tall, roaring at the sky, and his dark green hair danced in the wind. It was a Wuxia clan's expert genius. That's right, it was a Wuxia clan's expert genius, and the one who fought with Lin Xian previously. Previously, Lin Xian had injured the three archaic theocrats, but he didn't kill them. He only let their blood stain his body. They didn't expect that the other party would want to enter the fire-sacred palace first. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked forward. He had to admit that although the other party had lost to him, his strength was still terrifying. He had about 35,000 archaic power, which wasn't any weaker than those old undefeatable kings. He was courting death. The Flame Dragon King snorted when he saw this. On the other side, the 9th Generation Lord and the 7th Generation Lord had a mocking look in their eyes. They didn't move. Did the Wuxia clan really think they could beat them to it? The Wuxia clan's genius in the sky was extremely terrifying. He rushed forward like a demon king. In an instant he was in front of the fire-sacred palace. In the next moment he was about to break open the red door and enter. However, a terrifying flame suddenly formed on the red door. In an instant, it enveloped the Wuxia clan's genius. The Wuxia clan's genius let out a miserable cry. His body turned into ashes in the flame, and even his soul couldn't escape. Just like that, a peerless prodigy of the ancient era vanished into thin air. What? He was killed. Everyone was shocked when they saw this, and even the archaic theocrats were trembling. The Wuxia clan's genius was extremely powerful, and he was famous among them. However, he was easily killed by a wisp of flame. What kind of palace was this? Could this flame be the heavenly fire? Chapter 29-26. The human warriors were trembling and their faces were pale. They swore that they must not act rashly. Otherwise they would probably be reduced to ashes. They wouldn't even be able to cause a ripple. Is it a formation? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. The dark red dragon beside him nodded and said, "That's right, it's a formation. It's a super powerful protective formation. It's too profound. It's definitely set up by a supreme expert. What should we do? Can't we go in?" Peacock and the others were shocked when they heard that. If that was the case, they wouldn't be able to break it even if they worked together. They wouldn't even have a chance to fight back. The treasury was right in front of them, but they couldn't go in. It was a terrible feeling. The dark red dragon shook his head. That might not be the case. It's just that idiot from the Wuxia race. Can't he wait a little longer? We didn't do anything and the two flame giants appeared. It's obvious that the palace can be opened. We just need to wait patiently. The dark red dragon god was right. After waiting for about 4 hours, the red door in front of them made a rumbling sound and slowly opened a gap. Great, it's really opened. The Immortal Palace warriors were excited. The other human warriors were also holding their breaths. The 10,000 ancient races were also excited. Everyone was waiting and no one dared to act rashly. When the red door finally opened completely, the Fire Dragon King of the nest of 10,000 dragons smiled. It's time to enter. He waved his hand and led his people forward. At the same time, the 7th Lord of the Fire Qilin Cave and the 9th Lord of the Divine Phoenix Ridge did the same. Let's go. Lin Xian looked at Murong Qingqing, Shinjingqiu, the Dark Red Dragon, and the others. Everyone set off quickly. The whole process was very quiet. No one made a move. After all, the 2 flame giants were eyeing them. They didn't dare to act recklessly in front of them. After entering, everyone was stunned. Lin Xian's eyes widened. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Murong Qingqing, Shinjingqiu, and the others also opened their small mouths wide. The dark red divine dragon also exclaimed, "Damn, where is this place? Did we come to the wrong place?" Screams rang out as the scene inside the flame godly palace was completely different from what they had imagined. To be honest, these people were all top-notch geniuses, who hadn't explored ancient ruins before. Lin Xian had also been there many times. He had even entered the tombs of saints. However, it was completely different from the scene in front of him. Behind the flaming door was an incomparably vast hall. This hall was very normal, but the scene inside the hall was abnormal. At this moment, the main hall was covered in blood, and all kinds of corpses and remains were scattered all over the place. It was clear that this place had experienced an incomparably tragic battle. On the ground, on the walls, on the stone pillars, there were terrifying cracks everywhere. The blood still hadn't dried up completely. One could only imagine how terrifying those who had died were. Damn it. Just what is this palace? Why are these people fighting? Could it be that they were all fighting for some treasure? Who are these people? Are they the experts of the true spirit world? Everyone was puzzled. Be careful. The Fire Dragon King, 7th generation, and 9th generation said to the ancient creatures behind them. They took the lead and walked forward. When their feet stepped on the dried blood, their bodies trembled. They felt a terrifying aura as if it was going to devour them. Fortunately, the blood had dried for tens of thousands of years. Although there were still remnants, the baleful aura on it was already very weak. Otherwise, a drop of blood would be enough to kill them. Let's be careful. Lin Xian activated the 9 Yang Divine Body, and the 9 Yang Divine Fire enveloped the Immortal Palace's martial artists. Murong Qingqing and Shinjingqiu also activated their king domains and followed Lin Xian forward. Everyone was very careful. Fortunately, they hadn't discovered any danger so far, and they hadn't been attacked. Wuji, the snow-white little monkey suddenly jumped up. With a wave of its little paw, it grabbed a broken sword on the ground. Buzz, a terrifying light shone in all directions, and a terrifying murderous aura swept over like a tide. In an instant, it filled the entire void. Everyone's bodies trembled and their scalps went numb. They stopped and turned around. Damn it, who is it? Who is it? Are they trying to kill us? They screamed crazily. Lin Xian was also shocked. The dark red divine dragon exclaimed, "Damn it, damn monkey, what are you doing?" He was also scared. Who knew if there were any formations here? Why would the snow-white little monkey move around? Lin Xian was very confused. Little White, on the other hand, made funny faces at the crowd and went to Lin Xian's side. Lin Xian was very surprised. Little White picked up a broken sword, but it didn't cause any terrifying consequences. Moreover, the broken sword in the snow-white monkey's hand was very sharp. It seemed to be a top-grade heaven-grade weapon. It was really surprising that a casual grab was a top-grade heaven-grade weapon. One had to know that although he had a half-step sacred artifact in his hand, top-grade heaven-grade artifacts were not cabbages. They were very terrifying. Especially this short sword. It had been tens of thousands of years, but it still emitted such a terrifying aura. One could imagine how terrifying it was in the past. Not only Lin Xian but everyone else also noticed this. They looked at the weapons on the ground in shock and exclaimed, "Heavens, we're rich. This was a rare treasure." Someone else took action, pulling out a long saber and a long spear. They found that each of them was incomparably sharp. Although they were broken, they were even more terrifying than the weapons in their hands. Oh no, it's not a top-grade heaven-grade artifact. The dark red divine dragon shook his head. This should be a high-grade heaven-grade artifact. What? A high-grade heaven-grade artifact? It's so powerful? Everyone had looks of disbelief, but Yi Wudao and the others nodded. That's right, it really was a high-grade heaven-grade artifact. The primeval genius's expressions also flickered. They found that it was as the dark red divine dragon said. These were only high-grade heaven-grade artifacts. But their sharpness was not inferior to their own top-grade heaven-grade artifacts. These weapons were even stronger than their own. The 10,000 ancient races were also shocked. Just what era were these weapons from? Could it be that these people who died were all characters from before the primeval era? This was too shocking. Cries of surprise and speculation rang out. Many people's eyes turned red. These were all treasures. If they were refined, they would definitely be divine weapons. This is great. They're finally rich. How could there be no treasures in Skyfire City? Chapter 29-27. Damn it, this is ours. They were extremely arrogant as they stared at the humans. The human martialists looked gloomy as they gritted their teeth. Damn it, how tyrannical. They want to seize the treasures as soon as they see them. Don't fight with them. This hall is so big. Let's just go to other areas. Many people were discussing this. They did not want to clash with the 10,000 ancient races, but they would not give up on the treasures here. Fortunately, the hall was big enough for them to search in other areas. All of a sudden, the human martialists spread out and searched in all directions. Even the 10,000 ancient races had distanced themselves from each other. The groups that had gathered quickly disbanded. Peacock, go and search the surroundings. Be careful of your own safety. Lin Xian turned around and said to the martialists of Immortal Palace. Yes. Peacock and the rest were overjoyed. The martialists of Immortal Palace were even more excited. Lin Xian and the rest might not be interested in treasures of this grade, but it did not mean that these people would not be interested. In their eyes, this was a divine weapon. Therefore, after getting Lin Xian's permission, the martialists of Immortal Palace quickly spread out in all directions. Let's go and take a look. Only the dark red divine dragon, Murong Qingqing, and Xun Jingqiu were left by Lin Xian's side. He did not plan to separate from these people because he had a feeling that the Flame Sacred Palace was not that simple. Therefore, it was better for them to stick together. The previous saint of the Purple Dawn's sacred ground gnashed his teeth in anger as he watched Xun Jingqiu and Lin Xian leave. On the other side, the ninth lord of the Royal Mountain Range also stared at Murong Qingqing. His eyes flickered, but no one knew what he was thinking. On the other side, the Fire Dragon King also looked in Lin Xian's direction. He was staring at Lin Xian. Was this the kid who possessed the great dragon sword soul? How could a puny human like him possess such a thing? Just wait and find an opportunity to kill him. The great dragon sword soul belongs to us. The people from the Fire Qilin cave also glanced at Lin Xian. They were also tempted by the great dragon sword soul. After all, that was one of the 5 swords of the world. There was no one who wouldn't be jealous. However, Lin Xian's current strength was simply too strong. Ordinary people simply did not dare to have any ideas about him. However, they were not afraid. They were confident that they could kill the other party. Of course, this Fire Qilin Cave's 7th generation had another idea. That was Lin Xian's 9-yang divine flame. In his opinion, eating Lin Xian would increase the power of his flames. Of course, now was not the time to make a move. Lin Xian and the others walked forward cautiously. Lin Xian also activated his heavenly secret god eyes and carefully observed his surroundings. What is this? Murong Qingqing reached out her hand and grabbed out a broken ring. She probed with her soul and was astonished. The inside of the storage ring is broken, but there are still some things. She discovered that there were 2 weapons and a few bottles of pills inside. Other than that, there was nothing else. From the looks of it, there should have been a cultivation technique, but because the storage ring was broken, the cultivation technique was directly destroyed. This hairpin was also a treasure. Xun Jingqiu was also looking for it. Who are these people? Any piece of jewelry that they wear is a top-grade treasure. They were extremely amazed. At this moment, the snow-white little fox exclaimed and pointed in a direction ahead, chattering non-stop. Lin Xian's eyes flashed with a golden light. He looked ahead and then exclaimed in surprise. There are actually spirit herbs. Let's go and take a look. The group of people flew forward. Soon they arrived there. In front of them, there was a fiery red spirit herb growing out of the ground in blood. The spirit herb was not very tall. It was only as tall as 2 palms. There were mysterious patterns on it and there were small flames dancing on it. The blazing flower was actually such a thing. It was almost extinct in the outside world. The dark red dragon exclaimed. Lin Xian's eyes were also burning. Indeed, this was a fire elemental spirit herb, a very precious spirit herb. Lin Xian was overjoyed. This thing was very useful for improving his 9-yang divine constitution. That's great. I didn't expect to find such a treasure so soon after coming to the Flame Godly Palace. The corner of his mouth raised into a smile. Just as he was about to move in the next moment, his eyelids twitched, and a biting cold light appeared in his eyes. Lin Xian snorted coldly and his face darkened. He looked around. That was because he discovered a few obscure auras around him. These auras were almost invisible. Even an invincible king might not be able to detect them. Fortunately, he had the heavenly secret godly eyes. Otherwise, he would not have been able to detect them. Damn it, it was a trap. Lin Xian grabbed Little White and told it not to act rashly. Then he sent a voice transmission to the Dark Red Dragon, Murong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu. After the three of them learned about it, they were also very surprised. There were people in the dark. It seemed that these people had discovered the blazing fire flower but did not take it away. Instead, they hid in the surroundings and waited for others. When others saw the blazing fire flower, they would definitely be overjoyed. That would be when people were the most relaxed. They could then attack and kill the other party. How vicious. They should be people from the 10,000 ancient races. Lin Xian said through voice transmission. They were probably the only ones who had the idea and the strength to plot against others. Can you tell which race they are from? The Dark Red Dragon asked. Lin Xian shook his head. No, they must have used some kind of treasure to hide their bodies. If not for the heavenly secret godly eyes, I wouldn't have discovered them. That was indeed the case. Previously, the Dark Red Dragon, Shen Jingqiu and Murong Qingqing did not discover them. Therefore this made them feel a lingering fear. Then what should we do? Shen Jingqiu asked. Lin Xian said through voice transmission. Since they want to kill us, they should be prepared to be killed instead. We'll pretend that we don't know and directly pluck the blazing fire flower to lure them out. When the time comes, we'll give them a blow of thunder. I want to see who dares to plot against me here. Okay, I'll go. Murong Qingqing nodded and walked forward. Soon she arrived in front of the blazing fire flower. There were indeed a few figures hiding in the dark. There were a total of 3 people. The 3 of them were gathered together and draped in a light shadow that completely isolated their auras. Even invincible kings couldn't detect them, so this was the reason why the 3 of them dared to set up a trap here. Damn it, it's actually that human brat? Is it him? He has the 9-yang divine body and the dragon sword soul. Can we beat him? There were 2 men and a woman hiding in the dark. These 3 people looked like humans, but they had red feathers on their bodies and red wings on their backs. Obviously they were from the ancient royal family. They were the 3 geniuses of the ancient royal family, the Red Wing race. They naturally recognized Lin Xian, so they were very surprised. They were considering whether to make a move. One of the tall young men snorted coldly. What does that brat have? Although he's powerful, he doesn't know of our existence at all. Chapter 29-28. Even if they couldn't kill him, they could at least severely injure him. It would be easy to kill him later. That was indeed the case. The female prodigy next to him also said, I have a Dharma treasure here that can damage a person's soul. When the time comes, we can attack together. I don't believe that we can't kill this kid. The 3 of them sneered malevolently. But soon they were stunned. It wasn't Lin Xian who attacked, but a peerless beauty who was beside Lin Xian. It was the Saintess of the Jade Lake. She had a 5-colored phoenix phantom on her body just now. The female prodigy frowned. The short youth sneered. That's even better. We can capture her and hand her over to the Divine Phoenix Ridge. Divine Phoenix Ridge will definitely exchange a treasure with us. That was a good idea. The tall prodigy also nodded. The 3 of them smiled malevolently. At the same time, they heaved a sigh of relief. They didn't have to face Lin Xian immediately. This allowed their success rate to increase a little. At the same time, Murong Qingqing had already arrived in front of the blazing flower. She stretched out her slender hands and grabbed the blazing flower. A look of joy appeared on her face as if she didn't notice the danger around her. Bus. The prodigy of the Red Wing clan who was hiding in the dark made her move. Who was the one who attacked? A red long sword appeared in her hand. It seemed to be made of feathers. It was abnormally strange. It emitted a scorching and terrifying aura. The sword pierced through the void. The long sword was pointed at Murong Qingqing's forehead. It was obvious that she wanted to kill her with one strike. If she didn't know that there was someone here, Murong Qingqing might really be injured or even killed. But now, she already knew that there was someone hiding in the dark who wanted to attack her. Therefore, although she seemed careless, Murong Qingqing was always prepared. The moment the void fluctuated, Murong Qingqing shouted. Her beautiful eyes emitted a bright light. She raised her slender hands and slapped forward. Bus. The runes in the sky shone and turned into a phoenix that rushed out. Murong Qingqing didn't have a title. She had been keeping a low profile recently, but that didn't mean that she was weak. She possessed the most powerful bloodline power, so how could her strength be weak? He was definitely standing at the top of the human race. Moreover, as an extreme Dao holy land, the Jade Lake sacred ground had the inheritance of a great emperor. Although Murong Qingqing had only come into contact with it a little, its power was still extremely terrifying. Boom, boom. The sound of being knocked back rang out as the killing sword made of feathers was smashed into pieces. Murong Qingqing's palm became even more resplendent as it pressed toward the void. In an instant, the phoenix silhouette enveloped the woman who had attacked. Damn it, this is impossible. The woman's expression changed drastically as she screamed. At the same time, her body materialized and she quickly retreated. She was too shocked. The other party was actually able to break her attack with a single move, and was even attacking her in the opposite direction. She simply couldn't believe it. In her eyes, only Lin Xian was a threat. Other than Lin Xian, they didn't care about anyone else. However, the woman beside Lin Xian was so powerful. Damn it, was it because she had the five-colored phoenix bloodline? The primordial woman's expression was cold as she moved extremely quickly. The pair of fiery red wings on her back flapped as she quickly retreated. Kill. At the same time, the other two sky prides from the Red Wing clan who were hiding in the dark also made their move. The tall youth snorted as a fiery red spear shot down from the sky like a red lightning bolt, piercing toward Lin Xian. The other short youth had a dagger in his hand. His target was Xin Jingqiu. The two of them appeared very suddenly, and their speed was also very fast. Their strength was no weaker than the woman who had attacked before. It could be said that they were going to kill him. However, Lin Xian sneered. He had already discovered the other party's tracks. When he saw the other party attack, he snorted coldly and stretched out his hand. It was like a golden mountain as it slammed toward the other party. You're courting death. The tall man from the Red Wing clan shouted angrily. The other party dared to fight him barehanded. He was underestimating him. He swore that he would chop off the other party's hand. Clang. An earth-shattering sound was heard. The fiery red spear collided with Lin Xian's hand, causing sparks to fly. The surrounding void was shattering rapidly, and the runes in the sky were trembling non-stop. What? The tall sky pride from the Red Wing clan widened his eyes in disbelief. That was because Lin Xian had grabbed his spear and swung it forcefully. Clang. The spear broke into two halves. As for him, he was also sent flying by an enormous power. His opponent had broken his weapon with his bare hands. This was driving him crazy. In the next moment, he screamed before he could react. Lin Xian leaped high into the air and stomped down on Yi Futian's body. With a loud boom, his body was trampled into pieces. Blood splattered everywhere. At the same time, a scream was heard from the other side. It was not Xin Jingqiu but the short young man who had attacked the neurosphere. Although Xin Jingqiu was innocent, she was not weak at all. The purple qi on her body surged and turned into a purple gourd. A wisp of qi knocked away the other party's dagger. The other three wisps of qi pierced through the short young man's body. The short young man's feathers fell from his body as he screamed in pain. Damn it, how could this be? They roared crazily in disbelief. The short young man retreated frantically. The tall young man who had been crushed was also regenerating his body in the distance. His face was extremely pale. The other primordial woman was sent flying by Murong Qingqing. Blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. Damn it. They could not believe that the three of them were too strong. They could accept it if Lin Xian had injured them. However, what was going on with Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu? They had never heard of such a powerful saintess in the human race. Damn it, they were too careless. They had underestimated them. They had to leave quickly. They were not to be trifled with. The three of them discussed for a while and turned to leave. You want to leave? Did I allow you to leave? Lin Xian sneered. The other party had tried to assassinate them in the dark. They wanted to leave after failing the assassination? How could there be such a good thing? Was he someone who could be assassinated? He waved his hand, and the 9 suns' divine fire in the sky formed a large net that enveloped the entire world. Bang! 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 The 3 prodigies from the Red Wing clan crashed into the flame net and were knocked back. Damn it, how dare you stop us? They were furious. We are from the Red Wing clan. So what? Lin Xian was extremely powerful. He even dared to kill the 10th generation of the Silver Group, let alone the 3 of you. How dare you assassinate me? Kneel down and accept your death. Chapter 29-29. The three prodigies of the Crimson Lunar race were shocked when they heard that. Oh no, the other party is going to attack. They regretted it now. They had been too arrogant. They thought that they would succeed if they launched a sneak attack. Who would have thought that the other party was so powerful that he was not afraid of their sneak attack at all? Moreover, the other party was very powerful. Even the 10th generation of the Crimson Lunar race had been crippled by him, let alone them. Don't fight him head-on. Hide so that he can't find you. The three figures flashed and disappeared from the void in an instant. They disappeared again. Murong Qingqing exclaimed. Shinjingqiu also frowned. They could not find any trace of them. Damn it, they should have a Dharma treasure. The dark red divine dragon was also gnashing its teeth. Little Xin, hurry up and kill them. Snatch the treasure. Lin Xin did not say anything. His eyes shone with a golden light as he activated his heavenly secret divine eyes. A pair of golden eyes appeared in the sky and looked down mercilessly. Boom. Suddenly, he waved his fist and smashed it in a certain direction in the void. With a bang, the void split open and three figures were sent flying. Blood splattered everywhere and many of their bodies were torn apart. Damn it, how did you discover us? The three of them were about to go crazy. Their faces were filled with disbelief. It's over. We've been tricked. That brat already knew about our existence. The three of them finally understood that the other party must have discovered them in advance. Otherwise, the assassination earlier would have been a success. But how is that possible? They had a precious treasure from the Redwing race that could hide their auras. Even an invincible king could not detect it. No one below the sage level would be able to detect it. How did the other party discover us? Look, what's that? One of them pointed at the sky, his body trembling. Even his teeth were chattering. The other two looked up and felt their scalps go numb. A golden eye was looking down at the world. Damn it, he knows eye techniques. In an instant, they realized that the other party must have mastered an extremely terrifying eye technique. That was how he discovered their tracks. But what kind of eye technique could be so powerful? However, the situation was critical, and they did not have time to think too much. The other party's huge golden hand grabbed out once again, covering the sky and covering the earth. It was like the five-finger mountain enveloping the entire world. The five fingers gradually closed together, and the surrounding space kept shattering and squeezing. The pressure was so great that even their bones were broken. Damn it, get lost. The three geniuses of the Crimson Wings race roared out in a frenzy. Their bodies shone with a radiance that could destroy everything. However, he was unable to escape from Lin Xian's grasp. They were in despair. They were also geniuses of their respective clans and were extremely powerful. Killing people was as easy as slaughtering dogs. However, in the hands of Lin Xian they seemed to have become ants. Bang bang bang, in the end, their bodies shattered and turned into a bloody mist. The three souls floated out, wanting to escape. The god's eye in the sky spun and emitted wisps of soul flames. They floated out and ignited the souls of the three. "Ah no, damn it, you dare to kill me? Spare my life, I will never find trouble with you again." Angry roars, threats, and pleas for mercy rang out, but it was useless. In an instant, their souls were burned clean. In the sky, a feather floated down. It was sparkling and translucent, giving off a strange glow. Lin Xian reached out and grabbed the feather, studying it carefully. Then he frowned and said, "This should be the thing that hid the aura of the three." "Really, let me see." After the dark red divine dragon took the feather, his eyes lit up. This should be the feather of the Crimson Wings race's sage. It actually had such a remarkable ability. "Qingqing, this feather is for you." Lin Xian gave the feather to Murong Qingqing. Because Murong Qingqing had just been found out that she had the five-colored phoenix bloodline, the people of the divine phoenix ridge might harm her in the future. If she had this feather, she could hide herself at any time and it would be a good way to escape. Murong Qingqing did not stand on ceremony. She took the feather and imprinted her mark on it. Then she kept it. Whoosh, the snow-white little monkey's figure flashed and picked up the flaming fruit. Then he jumped onto Lin Xian's shoulder excitedly. Lin Xian said, Good. Little guy, you did well. I'll give you a piece." He waved his hand and divided the flaming fruit into 5 portions, one for each of them. "Haha, then I won't stand on ceremony." The dark red divine dragon swallowed it directly. Then he stared at the others while drooling. The snow-white little monkey hugged a flaming fruit and ate happily. Lin Xian, Murong Qingqing, and Shinjingqiu also swallowed the flaming fruit. Lin Xian sat cross-legged. The 9 suns' divine fire on his body bloomed and quickly absorbed the pure energy inside. Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu did the same. Not long after, Lin Xian opened his eyes. The divine fire on his body shone even brighter. Kit, you've become stronger again. After the dark red divine dragon absorbed the essence blood of the 3 Red Wing clan members, he flew over. The dragon blood on his body surged, and the terrifying aura shocked Lin Xian. In terms of bloodline, even the Flaming Dragon King could not compare to the dark red divine dragon. He wondered if the Dragon Crown Prince's bloodline was stronger than the dark red divine dragons. While Lin Xian was absorbing the fireball fruit, other battles were also breaking out in other parts of the hall. There were many treasures here, some broken weapons and some spiritual herbs. Naturally, there were many battles. Among them, the most intense battles were between the human race and the 10,000 Archean races. Both sides did not hold back. Not only that, but there were also clashes between the human race. There were even massacres between the 10,000 Archean races. The originally dark red floor was now dyed red with blood. There were many new corpses on the floor. It was a hair-raising sight. Let's go. Lin Xian and the others continued on their way. Along the way, they found some broken storage rings and some spiritual herbs. Gradually, they realized that the items in the hall were no longer enough to satisfy them. They wanted to see what was behind the hall. After all, such a magical palace could not only have one hall. The others felt the same way. Hence, they gathered in the center again. Many people were overjoyed. Of course, there were also some who felt heartache. Many people had died, and this was only the beginning. Who knew if there were other magical places in Skyfire City? How many geniuses would die because of the heavenly fire this time? Someone sighed. Yes, it was not easy to get out alive, let alone find treasures. Many ancient race members were also gnashing their teeth. They could not accept that the powerful geniuses of the human race had also killed their members. Ah! Who dares to kill the geniuses of the Red Wing clan? Chapter 29:30. On the left, a man with wings and feathers all over his body roared crazily. His body emitted a monstrous aura that suppressed the surroundings. Everyone's expression changed. Damn it, an invincible king. He was actually an invincible king. The man with feathers was indeed an invincible king. An invincible king below 500 years old, and a prodigy of the ancient royal family. This person's strength was absolutely terrifying. The human cultivators trembled. Under normal circumstances, those below 500 years old were mostly of the younger generation. These people's strength was heaven-defying, and they could fight above their level. Killing an invincible king would not be a problem. However, their cultivation bases were truly 8-star king realm, and they were peerless almighties. Yet the other party was an invincible king. Coupled with his talent in fighting above his level, the other party's strength was unimaginable. Even the primeval life forms and other Archean chosen felt their eyelids twitch. The members of the 3 archaic theocrats also frowned. What was this Red Wing king doing? To be honest, although they were high and mighty and did not put the other ancient royal family members in their eyes, this time, there were a few prodigies from the ancient royal family who were worthy of their attention. This was because they were all invincible kings, young kings. Red Moon King was one of them. Some of the ancient race members who were on good terms with the Red Wing tribe asked. Red Wing King said with a sullen face, 3 prodigies from my Red Wing tribe have been killed. Who did it just now? Everyone in the hall was shocked. Previously, everyone was busy fighting for the treasures here, and even Red Wing King did not notice. Moreover, he did not think that anyone would dare to attack them. Therefore, they were very surprised that 3 prodigies had died. The other ancient creatures from the Red Wing tribe were also roaring. Who was it? Hurry up and kneel down and accept your death. We can give you a quick death. Otherwise, if we find you, we will tear you to pieces and make you suffer a fate worse than death. Damn it, who dared to kill the prodigies of the Red Wing tribe? The ancient creatures from the Red Wing tribe looked around. This scene caused the humans to panic. However, some of the prodigies from the 10,000 ancient races were very dissatisfied. However, when they felt Red Wing King's cold gaze, their hearts jumped and they did not say anything. However, they still snorted coldly. Everyone was shocked by this scene. Especially Lin Xian, who narrowed his eyes. It seemed that the 10,000 ancient races were not united. There were many internal conflicts and no one was willing to submit to the other. Let's go. Fire Dragon King turned around and led the people from the nest of 10,000 dragons forward. No one dared to stop them. The people from the Red Wing clan were also silent. They didn't even dare to look. Although they were strong, the nest of 10,000 dragons were stronger than them. After the nest of 10,000 dragons, Shen Huangling also led a group of people forward. They wanted to be the first to explore further. The others wanted to leave as well, but King Red Feather snorted coldly and looked around coldly. Those people were so scared that they quickly stopped in their tracks. Red Wing, Red Wing, Red Wing of the Red Wing of the Red Wing, Red Wing of the Red Wing of the Red Wing, Red Wing, Red Wing were also Red Wing, Red Wing. The others were left here because no one could compete with the Red Feather King. Tell me who killed the genius of my Red Wing clan. Or did someone see who did it? You can tell me. The 10,000 ancient races have always been on good terms. Why would we attack you? Immediately, a few of the ancient races spoke up. The others also chimed in one after another. We can't do it. I think it's very likely that the humans did it. That's right, it's the humans. Only they would be so reckless as to attack us. Many of the ancient races sneered and pointed the finger at the humans. Hearing this, the humans' faces turned green. Bullsh ***, why would it be us? What evidence do you have? That's right. They were furious. They did not want to be thought of as the culprit. Red Wing King was too powerful. He was probably even more terrifying than Bai Qianshan. After all, Bai Qianshan was only an almighty, but Red Wing King was an invincible king. The people from the Red Wing tribe stared at the human martial artists with unfriendly expressions. Who was it? Stand out. Wherever their gazes landed, the human martial artists trembled. Red Wing King was clear-headed. He said that ordinary human martial artists could not kill their prodigies, not even the saints. It had to be the top prodigies of the human race. That was indeed the case. The human martial artists were terrified. The weaker ones heaved a sigh of relief. However, the top ones frowned. Especially the sacred grounds of their clans. They were facing a great enemy. Among them, the Yi clan, Gu clan, Dao Yi Sacred Ground, Jade Pool, Alcade, Grand Xia Dynasty and Myriad Buddha Temple were all facing a great enemy. After all, their saints were the top prodigies. They all had the ability to kill each other. Big brother Lin Xian, what should we do? Murong Qingqing asked through voice transmission. Lin Xian replied, don't worry, don't say anything. Leave it to me. Firstly, when he killed them, the dark red divine dragon had set up a layer of array. No one could see it. Secondly, the whole process was very short. He killed them almost instantly. He believed that there would not be any evidence left. Therefore he would not admit it. Of course, if the Red Wing tribe still wanted to attack him, he did not mind playing with them. The Red Wing King's cold gaze swept past Yi Wudao, the Alcade Saint, Wu Chen, the Grand Xia Prince and Lin Xian. These people looked solemn, but they were not afraid. They were the top prodigies and could suppress everything. Although the Red Wing King was strong, they still had the power to fight. King, I suspect it's this kid. That's right. Only this kid would dare to attack our Red Wing clan. Many Red Wing tribe members stared at Lin Xian. The other primordial beings and archaic geniuses also walked over, their eyes flashing with a cold light. That's right. Lin Xian was very strong and arrogant. He did not hesitate to kill the 10,000 Archean tribe members. It was as if he had killed the human martial artists. This made them mad and scared at the same time. But now they were gloating. Because Lin Xian had offended the Red Wing King. That was a young primordial king. He was definitely powerful. Lin Xian might not be able to fight him. Brat, was it you who did it? The Red Wing King asked. Where's the evidence? Lin Xian sneered. He did not admit or deny it. Instead he asked for the evidence. If you don't have evidence, don't talk nonsense. You should have heard of the saying that trouble comes from the mouth. So I advise you to think carefully before you speak. Lin Xian spoke again. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. Chapter 29:31. Heavens, this kid really doesn't know what's good for him. That's right, the Red Wing tribe already suspected him. Now that this kid is so arrogant, the Red Wing King will definitely not let him go. Damn this kid, he's too despicable. I'll kill him. The archaic creatures of the Red Wing clan were also enraged. A few of them looked gloomy. The Red Wing King's eyes burst out with a fiery red light, like a red sword piercing through the void. He stared at Lin Xian. Good kid, you have guts. I suspect that you're the one who did it. Kneel down obediently and kowtow to your death. His voice was incomparably cold. Lin Xian was not afraid. He said indifferently, I've said it before. Where's the evidence? You want evidence? Simple, I'll capture you and search your soul. Then I'll know. The Red Wing King also stood out. His powerful aura suppressed the surroundings, causing everyone to be frightened. They couldn't breathe. At this moment, the humans' faces were ugly, especially the warriors of the Immortal Palace. They looked as if they were facing a great enemy. However, there was an exception. That was the previous saint of the purple glow holy land. He was ecstatic. Attack. Kill this kid. To be honest, he was eager for the Red Wing King to attack Lin Xian and kill Lin Xian. As long as Lin Xian was dead, Xin Jingqiu would be his. Therefore he was looking forward to it. Brother Xian, Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu were also very worried. After all, the Red Wing King was not an ordinary ancient heaven's pride. Lin Xian waved his hand to calm them down. He looked at the Red Wing King and said coldly, "Don't you want to know the result from me?" "Sure. 3 moves, if you can block 3 of my moves I'll tell you." "What?" Lin Xian dared to attack the Red Wing King. And so arrogant? The ancient creatures went crazy. The other ancient heaven's prides were also stunned. They looked at Lin Xian as if they were looking at an idiot. Did this brat really have no idea of life and death? Or was he tired of living? What a brat, he was indeed insolent. However, it's a pity that you're too arrogant. Do you think that just because you defeated by Qianshan, you can contend against me? Let me tell you, I am the real invincible king. My strength is above by Qianshan's. You have no chance of winning against me. So you agree? Lin Xian asked. Red Feather King waved his hand. Kid, don't talk about defeating me. If I take a step back within 3 moves, I'll admit defeat. Okay, that's what you said. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being impolite. Lin Xian snorted coldly, his eyes shining brightly. At this moment, the god of the 9 suns rise was released, suppressing the area. It was like a peerless overlord causing people to tremble. Brat, I will let you know what despair is in front of me. Red Feather King's entire body was covered in flames. His red feathers fluttered in the wind. The dazzling divine light was so dazzling that people couldn't open their eyes. His gaze was even more so like a divine rainbow, clashing with the golden gaze, exploding in the sky like brilliant fireworks. The first punch. Lin Xian said in a deep voice. With a boom, the god of the 9 suns' body shone brightly. It was as if thousands of thunder were about to fall. The surrounding people trembled. They quickly retreated. It was too terrifying. Lin Xian's strength was indeed incomparably powerful. The immemorial creatures also retreated frantically. Do you think this Lin Xian can win? What a joke. Red Feather King was such a powerful existence. Just wait, he will definitely lose this time. They discussed animatedly. The immemorial creatures of the Red Feather clan sneered. They had absolute confidence in their young king. Red Feather King stood there like a demon god. The red feathers on his body bloomed, and the surrounding void could not withstand it. Boom. Lin Xian attacked. His golden fist bloomed with dazzling light. It was like a golden crow, quickly passing through the void and killing. Small fry break for me. Red Feather King was disdainful. The blood in his body surged and a fierce force burst out, causing people to tremble. He formed a strange hand seal with both hands. Get lost. The red flames on his body jumped and formed an ancient shield in front of him. In the next moment, the golden fist collided with the ancient red shield. With a boom, the entire world exploded. The huge palace shook and cracks spread everywhere. It was as if the world was about to be destroyed. Ka. Suddenly, the red shield made a cracking sound and broke into pieces. However, the golden fist also disappeared into thin air. He blocked it. They were evenly matched. The human warriors exclaimed, and the immemorial creatures screamed. The immemorial creature of the Red Feather clan laughed wildly. What Central Emperor Lin Xian? In front of Red Feather King he could not withstand a single blow. That was, King Red Feather could block his strongest attack with just a wave of his finger. These people laughed crazily. Red Feather King grinned. I told you, you're not my opponent. Not to mention 3 moves, even 300 moves will not be able to shake me. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. As expected of the invincible king, he was indeed powerful. But so what? That punch just now was just a test. Next he would use his real attack. Boom. He punched out again and the terrifying 9 suns divine fire spun in the sky. Soon, a large cauldron was formed above his fist. The large cauldron was hazy and emitted a heavy aura, as if it was refined with immortal gold. As soon as it appeared, the void collapsed and the raging flames spread. That is? The Celestial Emperor Cauldron? The Yi family warriors were the first to scream. They were shocked and could not believe what they were seeing. When the others heard this, they felt dizzy. Their heads were about to explode. What? The Celestial Emperor Cauldron? You said that the opponent used the Celestial Emperor Cauldron? Damn it, how is that possible? The Celestial Emperor Cauldron was an extreme weapon. Not to mention the human race, even the 10,000 immemorial races were going crazy. The faces of the immemorial prodigies changed. They felt as if they were facing an extreme weapon. Yi Wudao's eyes shone with a cold light. The Great Dragon Sword Soul, he used the Great Dragon Sword Soul to simulate it. One of the immemorial prodigies screamed. The others were envious. Was this the power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul? It was hard to imagine that he could simulate an extreme weapon with just a raise of his hand. At this moment these people were all tempted. If they could obtain the Great Dragon Sword Soul, their strength would go through a heaven-defying change. Everyone looked at Lin Xian with burning eyes. However, when they sensed the aura emanating from Lin Xian's fist, they all shrunk back. Red Feather King's pupils shrank. It's just an imitation. Do you really think it's an extreme weapon? You want to suppress me? What a joke. He snorted in disdain, and the light on his body became even brighter. Today I will let you know what it means to be unparalleled. Chapter 2932. With a loud boom the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The surrounding space quickly shattered. King Qiyu grunted and the wings behind him dimmed. Countless feathers fell to the ground, and a crack appeared on the ground under his feet. He blocked it. Everyone exclaimed, but King Qiyu's heart was filled with shock. Although he blocked it, he could no longer feel his wings. The other party's attack was really too powerful, far exceeding his expectations. Damn it! He roared, wanting to resist. However, Lin Xian's third punch came. Under the punch, the Celestial Emperor's cauldron disappeared, and endless light turned into fire dragons. Thousands of them coiled together in the sky, forming the 10,000 Dragons diagram. When the 10,000 Dragons diagram appeared, the immemorial creatures almost knelt on the ground. I don't believe it. It's fake. Die for me. King Qiyu roared. He also waved his fist, and a huge flame shadow rushed into the sky, wanting to tear everything apart. In the sky, the 10,000 Dragons diagram also fell crazily. Another earth-shattering collision. King Qiyu grunted and took 5 steps back. The blood in his body was boiling and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. It was completely suppressed by him. What? King Qiyu was forced to retreat. Everyone exclaimed. The immemorial creatures could not believe it. King Qiyu roared, "Kid, I want you dead." He could not bear it. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly, 3 moves have passed and you've been forced to retreat 5 steps. You've lost this battle. He stood with his hands behind his back, and he had no intention of attacking. However, the aura on his body became colder. Nonsense. How could I lose? King Qiyu roared, and the immemorial creatures of the Qiyu clan also snorted. What? You want to slap yourself in the face? Lin Xian sneered. When he said that, everyone shook their heads. Lin Xian had said it in front of everyone. If King Qiyu did not admit it now, it would be embarrassing. The other immemorial creatures would probably look down on the Qiyu clan. King Qiyu naturally thought of this and his face was terrifyingly gloomy. To be honest, he had been too careless. Previously, he had been full of confidence in himself, thinking that it was impossible for him to be forced back. Even if he passively defended himself, there wouldn't be any problems. How could he have imagined that his opponent would actually transform into an extreme weapon and launch an attack? He was forced to retreat. Although he wasn't injured and although he was powerful, he couldn't make a move right now. This kind of feeling was really too sullen. Looking up to the sky, King Redwing roared. Endless flames surged from his body, turning into a divine bird that covered the sky. His cold eyes swept across the area. Good, very good. No one has ever been able to make me suffer. You are the first. I will remember you. Just you wait. The next time I see you, I will kill you with my own hands. Let's go. After saying that, he flapped his wings and flew forward with the archaic life form of the Redwing clan. The other archaic creatures also felt their scalps go numb. The other party was too strong, so strong that they were terrified. They didn't dare to provoke him. Therefore, the 10,000 ancient races quickly followed behind. The human warriors were also shocked. Lin Xian landed and led the people of the Immortal Palace, Murong Qingqing and Shin Jingqiu forward. How could this kid be so powerful? The previous saint of the Purple Dawn Holy Land was terrified. His entire body was drenched in sweat. That was because he was scared. Just now he almost peed in his pants. The other party was really too strong. He was so strong that it made him terrified. In front of him, Lin Xian and the others strode forward. However, when they reached the depths of the hall, they found that the 3 archaic theocrats had already disappeared. It seemed that the other party left very quickly. Damn it, the Fire Cheeling Cave knows more information. If we followed him, it might be easier. But now we have lost them. Now we have to figure everything out by ourselves. The dark red dragon frowned. Lin Xian also looked around. Indeed, the fire Qilin cave knew more information, but even without the other party, it wasn't impossible for them to slowly figure it out. It just so happened that they could thoroughly understand this heavenly flame formation. This should be the end of the hall. They should be able to leave after pushing open this door. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the red door in front of him. His eyes flickered. The surrounding ancient life forms and human martial artists also walked over. When they saw this red door, their eyelids twitched wildly. This was because outside, the geniuses of the Yaksha clan wanted to forcefully enter the red door. In the end, they were inexplicably killed by a wisp of flame. That scene was still fresh in their minds. Seeing a similar red door, they didn't dare to move at all. There shouldn't be any danger. Otherwise, they wouldn't have left the nest of 10,000 dragons. Lin Xian said in a deep voice. He took the lead and walked out. The 9 young divine body bloomed with light as he pressed his palm on the red door. Immediately, a terrifying flame appeared on the red door and enveloped him. It really appeared. The surrounding people cried out in surprise. Lin Xian was also shocked, but in the next moment he roared and resisted. He blocked it. When everyone saw this scene, they screamed again. That's right, Lin Xian blocked the terrifying flames on the red door. However, his situation wasn't good. He was completely surrounded by these flames. From the looks of it, he would be burned to ashes at any moment. Temple Master. Peacock and the others exclaimed. Big Brother Lin Xian. Murong Qingqing and the others were also worried. Those archaic creatures sneered. This kid really didn't know what was good for him. He actually dared to touch this red door. Even if he was burned to death, it wouldn't be an injustice. If he dies, we can snatch the great dragon sword soul. These people had a good idea. Lin Xian shouted coldly. Strange flames? Just what I want. He needed that sort of flame to temper his 9 sons' divine flames to begin with. Thus, with a loud laugh, he began to completely unleash his cultivation technique. Soon, the red flames were refined, absorbed, and gradually disappeared. Seeing this scene, the archaic creatures frowned. No way this kid can actually resist it? How strange. So what? I'll secretly attack him. A cold voice sounded. Then everyone felt their vision blur as if something had passed by. However, they couldn't detect it at all. Whoosh! The void behind Lin Xian split open, and a thin black sword pierced towards his head. This moment appeared very suddenly and no one noticed it. When they saw it, it was too late to exclaim. Go to hell. A black shadow appeared. It was a woman with a hazy figure. The black sword in her hand stabbed down mercilessly, and it was about to pierce through Lin Xian. Lin Xian didn't dodge. Instead, he slammed his palm towards the red door in front of him. With a bang, endless red flames rushed out from the door and spread in all directions, enveloping the surroundings. Not good. Run. Seeing this scene, those people frantically retreated. The archaic creatures and human warriors also roared. Chapter 29:33. The red flames were too terrifying. They couldn't resist it at all. You're courting death. In the air, the woman wrapped in flames also screamed. She didn't expect the other party to do this. It caught her off guard. The red flames pounced on the thin black sword, causing it to turn into a pool of black liquid and fall into the air. The woman also screamed. One of her arms had melted, causing her to retreat in fear. However, Lin Xian wouldn't allow her to retreat. He swept his leg out like a coiling dragon, coiling around her body. The woman in the black mist and Lin Xian were both enveloped by the red flames that filled the sky. Miserable screams rang out, causing everyone's scalps to go numb. The archaic creatures were also terrified. This time the red flames were twice as large as before. I'm afraid both of them are done for. As expected, the woman didn't last long before she stopped breathing. She must be a prodigy of the ghost race. What a pity. Yes, no one would have thought that Lin Xian would want to perish together with the woman. Everyone shook their heads and sighed. However, they were still a little excited. If they could burn Lin Xian to death, so what if 1 or 2 archaic prodigies died? Perish together? You really think highly of yourself. Amidst the flames that filled the sky, a cold voice rang out. Everyone's scalps went numb. Damn it, that kid isn't dead yet. How is that possible? His physique shouldn't be so strong, right? Could it be that he broke through again? Lin Xian's body bloomed with the light of the 9 suns. The nine suns' divine fire turned into vortexes and crazily absorbed the power of the red flames to temper his body. Every time he absorbed, a sharp light would appear on his body. However, after it healed, the nine suns' divine body became even more terrifying. Soon all the flames were completely absorbed by Lin Xian. Lin Xian stood there like a flaming god of war, a thunderbolt sweeping across the land. This scene made everyone tremble. At the same time, their hearts burned with passion. The red flames had a strange energy. If Lin Xian could cultivate his physique, why couldn't they? Immediately, a few people stepped forward. Among them were a few ancient race prodigies. Leaf Dao Denier, the crown prince of the Grand Xia, and the others all stepped forward. They bombarded the red door, attracting flames to temper their bodies. Others tried as well, but the two geniuses from the Five Elements Palace were instantly burned, and their souls escaped. On the other side, the three ancient race beings were also screaming miserably. Two of them were completely reduced to ashes, and even their souls did not escape. This scene was frightening. If one was not a top-notch genius, no one would dare to use such a flame to temper themselves. With a wave of his hand, Lin Xian took out the 9-layered pagoda and quickly absorbed the scarlet flames. This 9-floored pagoda was a half-step sacred artifact, and he had obtained it from the war race. At this moment, it was the best time to use it to collect the flames. After absorbing the endless flames, Lin Xian put away the pagoda and said, "Brother Yi, let's hurry up and leave. Otherwise, the good stuff would be taken away by those people." Indeed, the three ancient royal race prodigies had left, and so had the other ancient royal race prodigies. Yin Nantian, the number one genius of the war race, and the others had all left. Therefore they had to leave as soon as possible. Leaf Dao Denier, the crown prince, and the others nodded. Among them, Leaf Dao Denier took out a bronze cauldron and collected the flames. The others did the same. They could collect some on the road or in the future. Only half-step sacred artifacts could receive the flames. After all, apart from that, nothing could withstand the might of the flames. Next, Lin Xian, Leaf Dao Denier, and the others worked together to open the red door. Among them, Lin Xian's 9 yang divine fire bloomed. Leaf Dao Denier's body was overflowing with golden blood. One of them had the 9 yang divine body, while the other had the saint body. It could be said that they were two extremely powerful constitutions. The two of them were like gods of war. With a roar, they pushed the red door with all their might. In addition to the two of them, the Alcade sage was surrounded by fiend gods. Similarly, he punched out. Wuxia was like an ancient Buddha. Buddhist light danced around his body. In addition, the Daoi sage, Murong Qingqing, Shenjingqiu, No Flower, Gu Santong, and the other top geniuses all made their moves. The 10,000 ancient races weren't idle either. They also made their moves. The 1,000 ghost race, blood moon race, stone race, and the other primordial royal races geniuses all had outstanding talents and terrifying auras. Together, the many geniuses worked together and finally, the red door slowly opened. Boom boom boom. Finally opened. Everyone was incomparably excited. Lin Xian also looked forward. There was a dark passage ahead. The surrounding light couldn't shine in at all. However, they couldn't care less. Let's go. Lin Xian, Leaf Dao Denier, and the others took the lead. After they entered, they were like the sun in the darkness, illuminating the surroundings. However, the light on their bodies soon dimmed. It could be said that they were being suppressed. The people who came in later also exclaimed in surprise. They also encountered the same situation. In here, they could only illuminate a few meters around them. Any further and they couldn't see anything at all. As more and more people entered, the primordial geniuses looked at Lin Xian and the others and sneered. Their eyes flashed with cold killing intent. In particular, the few royal races from the Red Wing race looked at Lin Xian with unfriendly expressions. It seemed like they wouldn't give up if they had the chance. Lin Xian also snorted coldly. His eyes were like rainbows as they swept across the area. The 10,000 ancient races were shocked. Many of them retracted their gazes. This was because they felt a biting cold killing intent explode from Lin Xian's eyes. Qingqing Qiu, come over. Lin Xian called Murong Qingqing and Shenjingqiu over. At the same time, the dark red divine dragon also rushed over. They gathered together. On the other side, Leaf Dao Denier and Dustless also called the geniuses of their sacred ground families to prepare to leave together. Hey kid, look at the wall. The dark red divine dragon looked around and suddenly pointed at the walls on both sides of the passage. Lin Xian also turned to look. Bus. His pupils shrank. These runes? Runes? Or Dao runes? He didn't know. The walls were covered with dense runes. They were very mysterious and made one dizzy at a glance. Lin Xian felt a mysterious power being generated from these runes. What a mysterious rune! The dark red divine dragon was also amazed. As he spoke, he waved his dragon claw and pressed it against the wall. Buzz! His dragon blood surged and red light flowed quickly along the runes. One by one the runes flickered. A terrifying power slowly spread out and the entire space froze. It was as if it was going to crush everyone. Damn, what the hell? The dark red divine dragon was shocked. He hurriedly released his dragon claw, and the terrifying power instantly disappeared. This made him feel a lingering fear. The others were also shocked. They walked over to Lin Xian. Chapter 29-34. The primordial beasts and human sky prides all looked at the wall. The passage was very long so they could see the wall without fighting for it. There were runes on the wall. Heavens, were these Dao runes? What profound runes! They all tried. When they injected their energy into the runes, a terrifying aura spread out, as if some peerless beast was about to awaken. They quickly took action. However, some didn't believe it. A top sky pride from the unfettered sect continued to inject his energy. In the end, his body exploded and turned into a bloody mist. He was killed by the runes on the wall. On the other side, a powerhouse from the Stone Tribe was the same. The Stone Tribe was a royal tribe. They had boundless strength and powerful bodies. However, one of their sky prides was killed in an instant. This scene made the primordial beasts tremble. They knew that the runes on the wall were too terrifying and couldn't be touched easily. Otherwise they would end up in a miserable state. The dark red dragon shrunk its neck. It was too dangerous. Fortunately, it was quick-witted. Indeed, if it hadn't let go of its claw, it would have ended up in a miserable state. On the side, Lin Xian sucked in a deep breath, his expression grave. Murong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu were also astonished. Yi Wudao, Wu Chen and the others were even more so. They stared at the runes in front of them, wanting to see the secrets within. Heaven Fire City was really strange. Just a single passage contained such a terrifying killing intent. Once the runes were activated, none of us would be able to resist it. A sky pride from the Blood Moon tribe frowned. The other primordial sky prides nodded. That was indeed the case. Although they were arrogant and didn't put anything in their eyes, they still felt a trace of fear in front of this mysterious passage. Needless to say, the human sky prides were even more terrified. This time, not only were the current generation's saints here, but even the previous generation's saints were here. They were all under 500 years old, but their strength was comparable to the current generation's saints. There were too many of them. Some of them weren't inferior to the primordial sky prides. At this moment they quickly took 2 steps back, distancing themselves from the runes. Let's hurry up and leave. This place is too strange. Let's leave the passage and see what's ahead. When these words were spoken, many people cried out in alarm, wanting to leave as soon as possible. However, Lin Xian, Leaf Dao Denier and the others didn't leave. Lin Xian looked at the mysterious runes on the wall, his eyes flickering. The dark red divine dragon at the side also said, "If we can use these runes, who will be our match?" It turned out that Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon were after the mysterious runes. Indeed, if they could release such a terrifying runic attack with just a wave of their hands, there probably wouldn't be many people in Skyfire City who could be their match. That's easy. Although the runes are complicated, it's not difficult for us to figure them out with our strength. Murong Qingqing said from the side. Shen Jingqiu, take the seal with your palm. Let me try. A purple glow appeared in her eyes as she stared at the wall in front of her, trying to comprehend the runes. But soon she puffed up her cheeks. She couldn't remember it, couldn't comprehend it. What the hell is this? Shen Jingqiu was very dissatisfied. Her talent was extremely high, and she could learn all the martial arts in the sacred grounds in one go. But now she couldn't comprehend or use these runes. It wasn't just her. The top geniuses around her also began to try. Even some of the primordial geniuses had the idea of using the runes. But soon, cries of surprise rang out in the passage. Damn it, I can't comprehend it either. Not only can I comprehend it, I can't even remember it. Damn it, there's something wrong with these runes. When I look at them, it's extremely familiar. But when I look away, my mind goes blank. It seems to be able to cut off the connection between us. Lin Xian also frowned. He tried and found that the runes were deeply imprinted in his mind. But when he turned around and tried to use his spiritual power to create the runes, he found that his mind was blank. The dark red divine dragon tried a few times but failed. He was so anxious that he stomped his feet. Damn it, this can't be a Dao rune, right? If it's a Dao rune, then it's understandable. With their current strength and vision, they couldn't understand it, because it was the means of a sage. It wasn't a Dao rune. However, even if they didn't know the runes, they weren't far from it. It seemed that they couldn't use these mysterious runes. Yi Wudao sighed, his eyes full of disappointment. On the other side, Wuqian also shook his head and sighed. The Alcade sage's expression was solemn. He was silent, and the light on his body became even brighter. On the other side, the Blood Moon race, Blue Ghoul race, and Yiksha race's geniuses were the same. They said in a deep voice that they would try one last time. If it didn't work, they would give up immediately. There were many treasures in Skyfire City. There was no need for them to waste too much time here for a passage. Lin Xian took a deep breath. Golden light bloomed in his eyes as he activated the heavenly secret divine eyes. In addition to the 9 Yang divine body and dragon sword soul, he had an even more terrifying eye technique. Heavenly secret divine eyes. So at this moment, Lin Xian used the heavenly secret divine eyes to forcibly memorize these mysterious runes. Buzz, buzz. In his eyes, the golden runes kept spinning, forming strange patterns. Fortunately, the surrounding geniuses were trying their best to memorize the runes on the wall. Otherwise, they would definitely scream when they saw Lin Xian's eyes. The reason for that was because Lin Xian's eyes were simply too mysterious. They were like gods. On the side, Shen Jingqiu and Murong Qingqing were also astonished. The dark red godly dragon was also startled. He hurriedly set up a formation to cover this bizarre scene. Gradually, the golden light in Lin Xian's eyes disappeared. He frowned, took out a few soul recovery pills from the black earth, and quickly swallowed them. "Kid, how are you?" the dark red dragon asked. Beside him, Murong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu also had a look of concern. Lin Xian shook his head. "I'm fine. I just used some soul energy. Remember it? I remember 3. These runes are too strange and mysterious. I can only remember 3 when I use the heavenly secret divine eyes. I'm very suspicious. Who carved these runes? They're probably not weaker than a sage." Indeed, 3 was his current limit. This was also because he had the heavenly secret divine eyes. He probably couldn't remember any of the others. And if he wanted to forcibly memorize them, he would probably consume too much of his soul energy. In such a place, it was very dangerous to have a weak soul. Therefore, Lin Xian decisively gave up. Remembering 3 was already a pleasant surprise for him. Big brother Lin Xian is so powerful. I can't remember any of them, Shen Jingqiu said with a pout. Chapter 2935. Since Lin Xian was the only one who could remember the runes, there was no need for them to stay here any longer. Therefore, everyone walked forward. As expected, other than Lin Xian, even people as strong as Yi Wudao and the Alcade sage gave up. On the other side, the primordial creatures were also roaring angrily. Damn it! One of the Yiksha prodigies was so angry that he attacked the passageway as if he had gone mad. He wanted to destroy the entire passageway. An earth-shattering force surged toward him. It was as if the punch could destroy the world. Boom! The punch landed on the wall and the runes on it began to dance. The Yiksha prodigy was instantly killed. Everyone was horrified by this scene. The dark red dragon sneered. "Don't you know what's good for you?" "What did you say?" The Yiksha prodigies turned their heads and glared at the dark red dragon. They had just lost another prodigy, and their hearts were bleeding. How dare someone mock them now? "Do you want to die?" "What did I say? You're all idiots," the dark red dragon said disdainfully. "These runes contain unfathomable power. Do you think you can destroy them? If you want to die, you can. But what if you activate all the runes in the passageway? Who would be able to resist then? Are you trying to drag everyone down with you?" The dark red divine dragon roared at the end of its sentence. Everyone's hearts skipped a beat. That's right. They looked at the Yikshas with unfriendly expressions. These Yikshas are arrogant and crazy. What if they really attack the passageway? If they activate all the runes in the passageway, no one will be able to resist them. Damn it, they're a bunch of lunatics. The human prodigies muttered softly. The primordial creatures also tried to dissuade them. They did not want to die here for no reason. The Yikshas were so angry that they trembled. However, they were the center of attention now, so they could not attack. They were arrogant, but they were not fools. Fighting against all the geniuses by themselves? They would never do such a thing. So they snorted coldly. "Fine, kid. I'll remember you. You still want to use a dragon like you? Just you wait, one day I will personally tear you apart." It was a good opportunity to have a taste of dragon meat. The sky prides of the Yuxia tribe glared at Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon with ferocious looks on their faces. There was no need to wait for the future. There was a chance now. The people from the Red Wing clan were also grinning. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's hearts beat wildly. Lin Xian frowned. The dark red dragon roared, "What? You want to fight? Your King Qiyu is not here. Be careful or he will kill you all." That was indeed the case. In order to chase after the Fire Dragon King, the 7th generation master, and the others, the Red Feather King had left in advance. Although the Red Wing clan had their own prodigies, without the Red Wing King, the dark red godly dragon would not be afraid of them. "Stop being so arrogant. Red Feather King is here, how dare you make a fuss? That is, don't think that you can strut around just because you forced our King Qiyu back. Our Red Feather King is defending passively. Besides, if our Red Feather King attacks with his full power, do you think you can beat him?" The prodigies from the Red Wing clan sneered. "Now even if our king is not here, we can still kill you. Kid, now is the time of your death." Among them, one of the prodigies from the Red Wing clan sneered. With a wave of his arm, a fiery red light surged into the runes on the wall. There was a loud boom. These runes were driven forward by him, enveloping Lin Xian. Damn it, using someone else to do the dirty work. How could this work? Many people exclaimed and quickly retreated. Lin Xian snorted. "Ching ching chio, retreat." His body shone brightly, forming a fire qilin that charged forward. He did not expect his opponent to use such a method to communicate with the power of the runes on the wall. At the same time, Lin Xian used the yin-yang steps. His speed was so fast that he turned into an afterimage on the spot. In the sky, a strand of runes floated, piercing through the fire qilin and shattering Lin Xian's afterimage. How terrifying. Even Lin Xian's attack could be easily shattered. Were the runes on the wall really that terrifying? These people were terrified. At the same time, they were surprised. They did not expect the prodigies from the Red Wing clan to be so powerful. They could even think of using someone else to do the dirty work. Could it be that they could use it too? Some of the human prodigies were overjoyed. They were prepared to use the same move. Perhaps they could kill a few prodigies from the Archean era. However, after they tried it, their faces darkened. They realized that not everyone could use someone else to do the dirty work. It seemed that the prodigies from the Red Wing clan were more powerful than they had imagined. They were definitely a terrifying clan. "Kid, how dare you provoke the Red Wing clan? Today is the day you die." One of the prodigies laughed maniacally. Lin Xian's face darkened. How dare his opponent try to kill him? It seemed that the lesson he had taught them was not enough. "How dare you provoke me? Do you think I will let you go?" He replied coldly. "Good lad, you're really arrogant. However, don't think of using the runes on the wall to fight against me. I don't think you can do it." The prodigy from the Red Wing clan sneered. "Shameless. What's the point of using the runes on the wall? If you have the ability, fight big brother Lin Xian fairly." Shen Jingqiu snorted from behind. "What do you know, little human girl? The winner is king. As long as I kill him, I can use anything." The prodigy from the Red Wing clan was not ashamed at all. Instead, he was proud of it. "It seems that you really want to die. In that case, I will fulfill your wish." Lin Xian's killing intent surged. His patience had reached its limit. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people were shocked. What? Was Lin Xian going to fight? Could he really fight against the runes on the wall? What a joke. No one there was confident that they could fight against the runes. Even Leaf Dao Denier was frowning. It was not wise to fight with him now. The faces of the people from the Red Wing clan darkened. Their bodies trembled. The other party was too arrogant. They had already mastered the method of killing with a borrowed knife, and he still dared to show off in front of them? Did he really think that they did not dare to kill him? So what if he was the master of the Immortal Palace? They would kill him without hesitation. "Go to hell, brat." The prodigy from the Red Wing clan roared crazily. He could not stand Lin Xian's arrogant appearance. Therefore he activated the runes on the wall again. He wanted to kill with a borrowed knife. Buzz. The runes on the wall lit up and flew toward Lin Xian. The void shattered, and the terrifying energy shook the entire passage. The surrounding prodigies of the human and Archean races trembled and retreated frantically. They were afraid that they would be affected. Many people were so shocked that they knelt down on the ground, trembling. "Be careful, brother Xian." Murong Qingqing and the others also cried out in alarm. They were extremely nervous. There was nothing they could do. The runes were too terrifying. The energy they contained was mysterious and unfathomable. At this moment, the power of the runes was terrifying, Chapter 2936. Hee, that kid is dead meat. Many primordial paragons sneered. That's right, he definitely won't be able to stop them. There was no suspense at all. Those people revealed sinister smiles because they had wanted to kill Lin Xian for a long time, but many of them did not have the strength to do so. Now that they could use the mysterious rune to kill Lin Xian, it was something to be happy about. Lin Xian's expression was cold. To be honest, he did not expect the Red Wing race's prodigy to be able to borrow the power of the rune. At the same time, he made up his mind to kill Lin Xian. The Red Wing race controlled the power of fire and had a mysterious bloodline. Their potential was terrifying. Since they were his enemies, he naturally would not give them another chance. With a flash of his body, Lin Xian used the yin-yang steps and rushed forward. In an instant, he created countless doppelgangers in the tunnel. What? He's rushing over? Many people exclaimed, and the Archean creatures felt their scalps go numb. Impossible. How dare he rush over? Does he have a death wish? They could not believe that Lin Xian should be trembling and running away in the face of such a terrifying rune. However, Lin Xian did the opposite and directly rushed into the mysterious rune. Does that kid think he can fight against the mysterious rune? What a joke. Hee, you overestimate yourself. It's a miracle that you're still alive. But now you can die. The prodigy from the Red Wing race laughed sinisterly. He did not think that Lin Xian could fight against the mysterious rune. He speculated that even the young invincible realm cultivator could not fight against it. Moreover, even if that kid had a half-step sage artifact, he would not be able to fight against it. That was because the power of the rune was too terrifying. He had tried before, but half-step sage artifacts did not work. Therefore, in his opinion, Lin Xian was definitely going to die. Lin Xian rose into the air. His body shone brightly like a god of death. He waved his hand and a white bone flew out of the black earth to meet the attack. He injected power into the hand bone, and it immediately released a terrifying aura. Boom. Many people were pressed to the ground, their bodies trembling. Damn it. The aura of a sage. Heavens, what did I do? Could it be that he has a sage artifact? These people are crazy. Half-step sage tools couldn't block the dreadful runes. However, sage tools could certainly block them. No, with his current strength, he was still unable to activate a sacred artifact. The ancient lifeform screamed as well. That was indeed the case. Normally, only people at the sect master level could activate a sacred tool. Even though they were peerless geniuses right now, it was still a little difficult for them to wield sage weapons. He reckoned that his energy would be depleted in just a few moves. At that time, he would be at the mercy of others. Therefore, even if he had a sacred artifact, it would not be of much use. But if it wasn't a saint artifact, then what was it? That power was too terrifying. It caused people to tremble. It was not the slightest bit inferior to the aura emitted by the mysterious runes. Bone, it was a section of bone. Could it be the bones of a saint? One of the Stone Tribe's geniuses exclaimed. What? The bones of a saint? This kid actually had such a thing in his hands. They were surprised. They didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a trump card. No wonder he was fearless in the face of the mysterious rune. Boom. In the void, the sound of an intense collision rang out as the space shattered. However, the saint's hand bone managed to block the attack of the mysterious runes. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. On the other side, the Red Wing tribe's genius trembled and his expression became extremely ugly. Damn it, he blocked it. His opponent actually had a way to block the attack of the runes. His heart gradually sank. He had miscalculated. The reason why he dared to fight Lin Xian was because of the talisman characters on the stone wall. In his opinion, he could easily kill Lin Xian as long as he borrowed someone else's knife. He didn't expect that Lin Xian would have the bones of a saint to block the mysterious runes. If he were to face Lin Xian directly, the consequences would be unimaginable. Whoosh. In an instant, Lin Xian appeared in front of the Red Wing tribe's genius and grabbed his head with a large golden hand. Get lost. The Red Wing tribe's genius roared and threw out a terrifying fiery fist. Light flickered and shot up into the sky. However, it was mercilessly extinguished by the large golden hand. In one move, the Red Wing tribe's genius's arm exploded. Blood gushed out and he screamed in agony. The Red Wing tribe's genius screamed crazily. No, you can't kill me. I can't kill you? Give me a reason. Lin Xian sneered. The young king of the Red Wing tribe is right here. If you kill me, the Red Wing king will not let you off. Red Wing king? Is that what you're relying on? To tell you the truth, I'm not afraid of him. If he dares to cause trouble, I'll definitely kill him. Lin Xian's voice was cold. At the same time, the large golden hand fell and smashed the Red Wing tribe's genius into pieces. Bus. At the same time, a dragon-shaped sword chi rushed out of his body and turned into a giant dragon. It carried an astonishing power and destroyed the Red Wing tribe's genius's soul. No. The other archaic creatures of the Red Wing tribe screamed crazily, but they couldn't stop it. They could only watch as the genius of their tribe fell. Damn it, you killed our genius. You're dead meat. The Red Wing King will never let you off. He will tear you into pieces. They screamed crazily. Noisy. Lin Xian snorted and waved his hand, sending many of the Red Wing tribe's archaic creatures flying. More than half of their bones were broken as they screamed on the ground. If you dare to make another sound, I'll kill you all. Lin Xian stared at the primordial life forms of the Red Wing race. Those primordial life forms trembled, and their faces were filled with fear. Although it was painful, no one dared to do it again. Lin Xian looked at them with disdain and ignored them. The surrounding people were terrified. Lin Xian was too strong. Red Wing King was in Skyfire City, and he dared to attack the Red Wing tribe's people. Could it be that he could really fight against Red Wing King? Impossible. Although he had forced Red Wing King to retreat, Red Wing King was only passively defending. If he really fought with all his strength, he would definitely not be Red Wing King's opponent. Red Wing King was a genius who could compete with the three immemorial theocrats. How could this human be able to stop him? The crowd discussed. They felt that Lin Xian was too arrogant. Lin Xian was still fearless. He didn't want to attack these people in the first place. However, these Red Wing tribe's creatures were too arrogant. They wanted to kill him several times. Did they think he was easy to bully? They wanted to attack him? They had to pay the price. Let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand and led the dark red divine dragon, Murong Qingqing Shenjingqiu, and the Immortal Palace's warriors forward. No one dared to stop them. The others also left. After all, they couldn't remember these mysterious runes. There was no point in staying here any longer, so he might as well go deeper. After walking for about 2 hours, they finally reached the end of the passage. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Chapter 2937. But fortunately they had left now. At the end of the passageway was another large hall. It was much smaller than the first one, and there were no corpses or broken weapons inside. It was very clean, and there was only something that looked like an array platform there. Is that an array formation? Everyone was shocked. Many people's eyes flickered as they looked ahead. Why does it look like a teleportation array? Is it? I think so too. Where are we teleporting to? Could it be the next area? The people discussed animatedly. They did not know where the teleportation array would teleport them to. Would it teleport them to the 3rd Street, or would it directly teleport them out of Sky Flame City? Therefore, for a moment they only watched and did not act rashly. Moreover, they were still puzzled. Is this really a teleportation array? This place was extremely strange and they did not dare to be 100% sure. Look, why are the runes on the array formation so similar to the ones in the passageway? An archaic prodigy pointed at the array formation in front of them and screamed in horror. When the others took a closer look, they sucked in a breath of cold air. Indeed. Fortunately, we didn't act rashly. Otherwise, we might have been killed mercilessly. It's a trap. It's definitely a terrifying trap. Lin Xian also frowned. His eyes flickered as he asked, "Ruffian dragon, are you in danger?" The dark red divine dragon quickly circled the array formation. The runes on it were similar to the ones in the passageway, but their functions should be different. It seemed that this was really a teleportation array. Moreover, the teleportation distance was not too far. It should not be teleporting them out of Sky Flame City, but to the next area. The dark red divine dragon was an expert in array formations, so it came to this conclusion after studying it for a while. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. It seems that those people left through this array formation. Although he thought so, the others did not leave this way. After all, they did not see it with their own eyes. Who knew how those people left? Since that's the case, let's use the teleportation array. Lin Xian said in a deep voice. It seemed that this was the only way now. Everyone else remained silent. Even the sky prides of the human race were frowning. They did not really believe Lin Xian's words, let alone the archaic creatures. Who knew if this was all part of the other party's plan to kill them? Lin Xian sneered when he saw those people's doubtful expressions. Let's go to the arena. He called Murong Qingqing Shenjingqiu and the people from Immortal Palace. Seeing the actions of Lin Xian and the others, the human cultivators were shocked. As for the ancient creatures, their expressions changed greatly. They quickly discussed, and the geniuses of the Yeksha race walked up. Wait. What? Do you have something? Lin Xian asked. The genius from the Yeksha race snorted coldly. Of course there was something. Why should they leave first? And people. Previously, all of you were afraid of death and didn't dare to step forward. You're courting death. The Yeksha race's prodigy roared angrily. No matter what, they would not allow the other party to leave first. Firstly, it seemed that this was really a teleportation array. What if Lin Xian and the others went to the other side and destroyed the other teleportation array? They would never be able to go to the other side. Is the teleportation array that easy to destroy? Lin Xian transmitted his voice. The dark red dragon said. It's fine. They won't be able to destroy it even if they attack it for a year. The mysterious runes were used to protect the array. Alright then. Lin Xian was relieved. Since you want to leave, I'll let you be the first to leave. As he said that, he stood to the side and sneered at them. The Yeksha race's prodigy's heart skipped a beat. A bad premonition arose in their hearts. Damn it. Could it really be a trap? But this kid's acting is too realistic. Is he trying to bait us? For a moment, the Yeksha race's prodigy was in a dilemma. The disdain in Lin Xian's eyes deepened. These primordial geniuses are really afraid of death. If they can't even bear this little danger, how can they compete for the throne? No need. Let them go first. That's right. Let this kid scout the way first. A few voices sounded from the crowd. One of them was a prodigy from the Stone tribe. He was tall and his body was covered in runes. His powerful aura caused the space to tremble. The Stone tribe was one of the top royal tribes in the far ancient era. Therefore their words carried a lot of weight. The other person who spoke was pitch black with white runes flickering on his body. He was from the Black Tiger tribe, which was also one of the terrifying royal tribes. Lin Xian glanced at the two of them and realized that their auras were very powerful. They should be top prodigies. In the next moment, he retracted his gaze and said, In that case, I won't be polite. Brother Yi, Brother Gu, I'll be leaving first. Lin Xian cupped his fists at Yi Wudao and the others. Then he led the dark red dragon, Murong Qingqing, Shenjingqiu, and the cultivators from Immortal Palace onto the teleportation platform. After dropping a few divine crystals, the teleportation array was activated. Terrifying runes spun and wrapped around them. Has Chuansong left? Everyone watched nervously. They wanted to see if Lin Xian was in danger. However, in the next moment they screamed. They discovered that the runes on the platform were rapidly spreading to the surroundings. The entire hall was completely enveloped. Not good. What's going on? They looked at the mysterious runes flickering under their feet and the terrifying spatial power they emitted. They were extremely shocked. Damn it, why are we being teleported too? The primordial geniuses were stunned. Yi Wudao, the Alcade sage, and the others' pupils constricted. Not good, it's really a trap. Immortal King descends to the 9 heavens. Yi Wudao roared angrily, and a golden immortal king rushed out of his body. He held a bronze cauldron and instantly covered him and the Yi family cultivators. On the other side, Dustless shot out a Buddha phantom. The Buddha runes filled the sky and enveloped the people of the Buddhist sect. The Alcade sage also shot out a dragon pattern cauldron replica. 2 black dragons circled around him and the experts of the Alcade sacred land. In an instant, everyone took out their trump cards. The 10,000 ancient races also activated their bloodline power and took out terrifying treasures to envelop their bodies. In the next moment, the surrounding space shattered and countless black holes appeared, swallowing these people. Damn it, what's going on? In the arena, Lin Xian and the others were also stunned. Will they be fine? Murong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu's faces were pale, while the dark red dragon's mouth twitched. Damn it, there's actually a hidden mystery in this array. The teleportation platform should only be the key part of the array. In fact, the entire hall was a teleportation array. The dark red dragon realized that the array was too intricate. The person who set up the formation was too ingenious. I couldn't see through it immediately. Chapter 2938. No one knew. In the next moment they felt a surge of spatial energy wrap around them. Then they disappeared as well. Whoosh. The world spun and Lin Xian and the others appeared on the street. The fiery red street was burning with raging flames, and the surrounding tall buildings were all wrapped in flames. The fire aura here was stronger than before. However, the style was still the same. It seemed that they had been teleported to the next area. After Lin Xian and the others came out, they quickly recovered and looked around. Murong Qingqing also said that the runes must have protected them, but they didn't know if those people were okay. It would be best if we could kill those 10,000 ancient races and teach them a lesson. The dark red dragon sneered. At the same time, figures appeared in other areas of the fiery area. The golden immortal king roared, and the bronze cauldron suppressed the surroundings, but it had dimmed a lot. Fortunately, no one was injured. Yi Wudao heaved a sigh of relief. On the other side, Dustless and the Alcate Sage also came out. They were all affected, but their losses were minimal. However, the other sacred grounds and sects suffered some injuries. Some were even seriously injured. It was the same for the 10,000 ancient races. Many of them were injured. They were so angry that they vomited blood. Damn brat, I won't let you off. Lin Xian, I'll tear you to pieces. It's a trap. I told you it was a trap. The members of the Yeksha tribe and the Blood Moon tribe roared madly. Their killing intent soared to the heavens. They could not wait to find Lin Xian and kill him immediately. Brat, where do we go? The dark red dragon asked. Lin Xian looked around and saw a fiery tower in the distance. It was very eye-catching. Let's go to that building. In the second area they had gone to a fiery palace and now there was a fiery tower. Perhaps it was a place similar to the fire shrine. Alright, let's go from there. The group walked in that direction. Yi Wudao and the other geniuses of the 10,000 ancient races also headed for the fiery tower. The fiery tower had a total of 19 floors, and it was extraordinarily majestic. It was like a huge mountain of flames and the flames on it were overflowing. At the bottom of the tower there were already a few figures. Some of them were from the human race, while others were from the 10,000 ancient races. However, without exception the information on them was unusually strong. One of them was covered in fiery red feathers that tore through the void. It was King Redfeather of the Crimson Moon clan. At this moment King Redfeather's face didn't look good. Damn it, he was still shaken off by those guys. The person next to him was as black as ink. He had 2 demon horns on his head and a black ghost sword on his back. His aura was ice cold as if he was a demon from hell. His gaze was deep as if he could see through everything. There's nothing we can do about it. That damned Fire Chelan cave knows a lot. With the 3 great imperial clans working together, they threw us off and left us behind. However, they shouldn't be too fast. They should only be 1 region ahead of us. I think they should know where the heavenly flame is. A beautiful woman said in a delicate voice. She was very beautiful, and her figure was even more graceful. It could be said that she had a devilish figure and an angelic face. However, on her back there was a silver tail. That tail seemed to be made of steel and had a cold metallic luster. She was a sky pride of the Scorpio race. These elite elites were frowning because they felt that the longer this dragged on, the further they would be from the elite elites of the primordial theocrats. If the other party obtained the heavenly fire, they would have to return empty-handed. Oh, someone is coming. The sky pride of the Scorpio race turned around, and so did the other prodigies. Indeed, someone had appeared. Countless streaks of light tore through the void and were rushing over. These people were very fast and they arrived in the blink of an eye. These people aren't slow. The few prodigies snorted. The people who had rushed over were none other than Lin Xian and the others. There were humans as well as ancient creatures. They were stunned when they arrived at the fiery tower. There were people. They didn't expect that there would be people below the fiery tower. It seemed that they had arrived earlier than them. The Archean prodigies as well as the human warriors narrowed their eyes. He naturally saw those people and he also saw the tall King Redwing surrounded by flames. Swoosh, swoosh. These people landed on the streets and looked ahead cautiously. The few top prodigies frowned when they saw these people. What a bunch of ants. I say, why don't we join forces to clear the field first? The lady from the Scorpio race said coldly. King Redwing and the others nodded and prepared to attack. But before they could move, a few figures ran over. These figures were covered in flames. They flapped their wings and arrived in front of King Redwing. They knelt down on one knee and bawled their eyes out. This scene had all the top geniuses of the ancient immortal realm stunned. King Redwing was also stunned. Then his face turned gloomy. Damn it. Stand up. Why are you crying? His face turned black because it was too embarrassing. Their Redwing clan was also a majestic royal clan. How powerful was their strength? Now, his clansmen were actually wailing? He felt that he had lost all his face. These ancient creatures from the King Redwing race stood up, but they were still crying and their feathers were shaking. Your Majesty, you must avenge us. That's right. Kill that kid. Kill that Lin Xian. Their faces turned hideous as they pointed at Lin Xian and trembled. What's going on? King Redwing frowned. Could it be that something happened? He looked at them and suddenly asked, why is one person missing? He realized that other than these ancient creatures, another prodigy was missing. That prodigy was highly valued. Our prodigy was killed by that kid. The ancient creatures from the King Redwing race cried. He was killed. The peak prodigies were stunned. King Redfeather roared in anger. In the next moment, his eyes shone with a sharp light and his body was filled with killing intent. What did you say? That kid killed our prodigy? Lin Xian, I want you dead. Red Feather King raised his head, a cold light bloomed in his eyes as he shouted. The martial artists were so shocked that they almost fell to the ground. He was so angry that he was about to go crazy. Previously he already had the intention to kill this brat. He was prepared to kill him the next time he saw him. But he did not expect that Lin Xian would kill a prodigy of the King Redwing race before he could do anything. Previously he suspected that 3 of their prodigies were killed by Lin Xian. But there was no evidence. Now there was finally conclusive evidence. How dare you kill our prodigy? That's right. Now that the evidence is conclusive, let's see how you deny it. With King Redwing supporting them, the ancient creatures from the King Redwing race roared crazily. Lin Xian was extremely calm. So what if I killed them? Chapter 2939. That's not a reason. If the Redwing tribe wants to kill you, you have to stretch out your neck and accept your death. How dare you fight back? I'll tear you to pieces. Lord Redwing did not care at all. It was not his tribe that attacked first. Lord Redwing was so powerful that he could kill anyone he wanted in one move. If you dare to resist, you have to die. Hearing that, the human prodigies felt their scalps go numb. He's too arrogant. He's simply bullying us. However, did Lin Xian look so easy to bully? Sure enough, Lin Xian sneered. How overbearing. Do I have to stretch out my neck to die just because you want to kill me? What a joke. To tell you the truth, I was the one who killed the 3 Redwing tribe prodigies. Why? Do you want to kill me? If you don't like it, come and bite me. Lin Xian was also angry. His opponent was too arrogant and did not take him seriously at all. He did not plan to let this enemy go. I'll settle everything today. Good boy, you admit it? I won't let you go for killing my prodigies. Now die. With a roar, Lord Redwing attacked mercilessly. He was embarrassed when he was pushed back by his opponent. So now he attacked with a fatal blow. His arms were covered in red feathers. Flames overflowed into the sky, and light shone for tens of thousands of zhang. He turned into a divine bird and swooped down. The divine bird was extraordinarily mighty. It was 100 feet long and covered the sky. With a wave of its claws, it tore through the void. The surrounding people hurriedly retreated. Their bodies were about to be torn apart by the aura alone. I'm not afraid of you. Do you really think you can show off in front of me just because you're an invincible king? Lin Xian also shouted angrily. The 9 suns' divine fire on his body surged. His palm turned into a golden crow and charged forward. The golden crow and the divine bird collided in the sky. In an instant, the 2 of them had exchanged more than 30 moves. Every move was earth-shattering. So, this is Lord Redwing? He's too powerful. The prodigies on the human side exclaimed. The previous generation's saints and even the previous generation's saints had solemn expressions. Many of them were trembling, and the qi and blood in their bodies had frozen. Of course, what shocked them even more was that Lin Xian was able to contend with King Qiyu. Lin Xian was not at a disadvantage. How could this brat have such formidable strength? Those archaic life forms trembled. The top prodigies of the Sky Scorpion race and the Stone race also frowned. This brat was a great enemy and he had to get rid of him quickly. With Red Feather King attacking, he would definitely be killed. Indeed, the Red Feather King was powerful. His bloodline was heaven-defying, and he was an invincible king. His strength was far beyond the human race. The reason why this kid could fight back now was because Red Feather King did not use his trump card. Kill. Lin Xian roared in front of him. He waved his hand and 10 golden crows appeared. They connected with each other and formed a Tao diagram. He rushed over and trapped the divine bird. The divine bird spread its wings, but it was firmly suppressed. Many cracks appeared on its surface. How could this be? Red Feather King was shocked. His opponent's strength was beyond his imagination. He never thought that his opponent would be able to contend with him. He had never fought with Lin Xian before. In his opinion, so what if his opponent was famous? However, the archaic prodigies he had challenged before were all weak. He was a true invincible king. He could definitely defeat his opponent once he attacked. Previously, he was forced to take 3 moves from his opponent. Although it was embarrassing, he did not take it seriously. He was only defending. If he really attacked, his opponent would not be his opponent. But they had already exchanged more than 50 moves. He did not hold back in any of them. Even so, his opponent was still able to withstand them. His opponent's strength had even numbed his arm. Now there were cracks on his body. This was not something that could be explained by underestimating his opponent. This meant that his opponent's strength was far beyond his imagination. This brat could not be left alive. He had to be killed. Red Feather King's killing intent surged. His opponent was too terrifying. If he was allowed to continue growing, he would definitely become a powerful enemy in the future. He had to take advantage of this opportunity to kill him. But, thinking of this, a fiery red light appeared on Red Feather King's body. His strength suddenly erupted. The divine bird also let out a furious roar and shattered the 10 golden crow illusions. However, in the next moment, the divine bird's phantoms disappeared. Lin Xian and Red Feather King both retreated 10 steps and faced each other. They were evenly matched. They were really evenly matched. Yes, he could actually contend with Red Feather King. It was too unbelievable. The surrounding martial artists screamed. The archaic creatures looked as if they had seen a ghost. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He had to admit that Red Feather King was indeed strong. He had the right to be arrogant. His opponent's strength was even above Bai Qianshan's. He was indeed a young invincible king. You are strong. You deserve my full strength, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. What? Full strength? Everyone went crazy when they heard this. What did he mean? He did not use his full strength when he attacked previously? They could not believe it. Red Feather King snorted. Brat, don't be so arrogant. Next I'll show you my ultimate move. Is that so? I look forward to it. Lin Xian's eyes turned cold. His aura suddenly erupted. The dragon sword soul in his body roared, and a terrifying sword chi rushed into the sky. Damn it, his aura has become stronger again. Red Feather King's pupils shrank. He realized that his opponent was not bragging. He could actually increase his strength. Humph die. Red Feather King roared and waved his hands. His hands turned into the Red Feather Divine Bird again. This time the Divine Bird was incomparably real. It was as if a real archaic beast had been resurrected. With a cry it tore through the void. Red Feather Divine Claw. This was the Red Feather clan's super powerful ability. This was their bloodline ability. Many archaic Sky Prides screamed. Even the top Sky Prides of the Stone Clan and Scorpio Clan looked solemn. It seemed that Red Feather King was really angry. Brat, you are dead. Red Feather King revealed a sinister smile. However, in the next moment, his pupils shrank and his body retreated rapidly. At the same time, his face became incomparably ferocious. Get lost. Because just as he used the Red Feather Divine Claw, the void split open, and a piercing sword light slashed directly at him, wanting to split him in half. In shock, he quickly retreated and waved his Red Feather Divine Claw. In the blink of an eye, dozens of phantoms of primordial divine birds flew out and attacked the sword light. Boom, boom, boom. Energy exploded and tens of thousands of auras surged. It was as if the world was about to be destroyed, and the surrounding people frantically retreated. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, the dozens of phantoms of the primordial divine birds were chopped into pieces. That sword chi was too sharp. It was like an eternal divine light that was unstoppable. Wherever it passed, everything was destroyed. After shattering dozens of divine claws, the sword light once again shot towards King Red Feather in an extremely cold manner. Red Feather King roared. The divine wings behind him turned into a heavenly blade and slashed at the void, repelling the sword light. Chapter 2940. Damn brat, you've completely angered me. Scarlet Moon King roared. Is that so? Not only will I anger you but I'll also kill you. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The 9 suns divine fire formed a flaming divine sword. 9 suns split the sky. The sword slashed out and the entire world seemed to be split apart. At this moment even the top prodigies trembled. They sensed a deadly threat. Oh no, this brat sword chi is too strong. Scarlet Feather King's face was extremely gloomy. He roared and activated his bloodline power without hesitation. Behind him, the shadow of a bloodline appeared. This was the ancestor's shadow in their bloodline. At this moment, it was displayed, and together with the immemorial divine claw, they clawed forward. The power of this attack was extremely terrifying. Even the other prodigies did not dare to take it head-on. There were probably not many people in the human race who could withstand it. Boom. The moment the two attacks collided, the space was mercilessly torn apart. The entire world was dyed red by flames and angry roars. Whoosh. A moment later, a miserable cry was heard. An arm fell from the sky. Scarlet Feather King screamed and retreated. The ancient shadow that was activated by his bloodline was destroyed and dissipated in the sky. Not only that, but one of his arms was also chopped off by the sword. There was no blood left because the blood had already evaporated in the terrifying Nine Suns' divine fire. What? Scarlet Feather King was injured. Heavens! Everyone was terrified and could not believe it. Scarlet Feather King was an invincible king of the younger generation. His bloodline was extremely strong, but he was injured by Lin Xian with a single slash. How terrifying was Lin Xian? Scarlet Feather King's face was also filled with malevolence. He could not believe that he was injured. Although it was only a broken arm, it was a great humiliation to him. He roared into the sky and the feathers on his body expanded. His body was also constantly growing. In the end, he was no longer in human form, but a beast with blood-red feathers. It was a divine bird. Its feathers seemed to be made of blood-red metal. The flames on it were monstrous, and its cold eyes were emitting monstrous killing intent. He had transformed into his true form. The Archean prodigies were shocked. Normally they would not transform into their true forms unless they had no other choice. But now, King Red Feather didn't even have a trace of his human form. This meant that the other party was truly furious. After transforming into his true form, his battle prowess would increase enormously, reaching an unimaginable level. Whoosh. As expected, King Red Feather's speed increased a lot in an instant. He tore through the void and arrived behind Lin Xian. A pair of sharp claws mercilessly tore down, carrying with them the will of his bloodline and terrifying flame runes. This attack tore apart the divine flames on Lin Xian's body and blasted towards Lin Xian's head. Not good. Seeing this scene, a lot of people started to scream. Even Murong Qingchen gasped. If she were to be caught like this, her heart would probably be crushed. Those archaic creatures laughed. The Red Wing King was indeed angry. After transforming into his true form, that brat would definitely not be able to contend against him. He would probably be killed in one move. Clang. An earth-shattering sound rang out. King Red Feather retreated once again, flapping his wings and tearing through the void. In an instant he was thousands of miles away. His face became incomparably ferocious. His sharp claws were actually shattered. Lin Xian turned his head. You're just SOSO. The attack just now had caused his blood to boil, and he had suffered some internal injuries. However, the Nine-Yang divine body was too powerful. His opponent couldn't break it. Even if he transformed into his true form, it still wouldn't work. Hearing this, King Red Feather roared. I'll make you die without a burial place. Next, he launched a storm-like attack. It had to be said that King Red Feather was terrifying. Other than Lin Xian, Yi Wudao, and a few other geniuses, no one else could resist him. They couldn't even resist one move. Even the human race's holy sons couldn't find any trace of King Red Feather. It was too fast, so fast that it was unimaginable. Lin Xian also felt the pressure, but fortunately the Nine-Yang divine body was incomparably strong. Although he had been hit many times, it was still fine. However, his body didn't break. Instead, his opponent's claws had been shattered 7 or 8 times. Die for me. King Red Feather descended from the sky. His 2 wings intertwined in the sky, forming a cross shape and slashed down. A terrifying aura overflowed the sky, bringing with it flaming divine chains that descended from the sky. This was a one-hit kill. Bus. Lin Xian didn't hold back. He waved the Nine-Yang sword art, combined with the power of the great dragon sword soul, and a dragon-shaped sword chi sword into the sky. Those flaming runes collided with a terrifying sound that made one's soul tremble. So powerful. Lin Xian was shocked. King Red Feather was actually able to block his Nine-Yang sword art. It was too unbelievable. Even Bai Qianshan from before would have been killed by this attack. However, King Red Feather was actually able to block it. It had to be said that it was really shocking. King Red Feather snorted again, and a rumbling sound came from his body. The terrifying power skyrocketed again. With a puff, the sword chi pierced through the flaming runes. King Red Feather's wings were shattered. With a cracking sound, the bones of King Red Feather's wings cracked and deformed. King Red Feather was sent flying. His face was full of shock. What kind of power was this? It was unbelievable that his wings could be broken. These divine wings were the hardest part of his body. Not only did they allow him to fly quickly, but they were also his weapons. His wings were comparable to a half-saint tool. However, they were shattered by King Red Feather. Kill. Lin Xian soared into the sky like a true dragon, rushing towards the 9 heavens and attacking King Redwing. He had already made up his mind to kill. How could he let King Red Feather live? Ka. The flames on King Red Feather's body soared into the sky, and his broken bones were all restored. He was incomparably ferocious as he attacked. His 2 wings kept fluttering, like a heavenly blade that could destroy the world, cutting through the void. However, they were shattered by Lin Xian's powerful strength once again. This time, not only were the wings broken, but they were also torn into pieces. Blood mist filled the air. Let's see how many times you can regrow them. Lin Xian was abnormally strong. Endless sword chi wrapped around his hands, turning into 2 dragon heads, directly grabbing King Red Feather's wings. Damn it. Get lost. King Red Feather kept shaking. His strongest weapon was caught by King Red Feather. How could he bear it? At this moment he was in the form of a divine bird. Although he was caught, he could still use his mouth and claws. He opened his mouth and spat out a monstrous divine flame that could destroy the world, enveloping Lin Xian. Lin Xian was enveloped by the flame, and traces of cracks appeared on his body. One could imagine how terrifying the flame was. However, he was not afraid at all. The 9-yang divine body was invincible. Although the divine flame was terrifying, he could still withstand it. Kaka. His palms were like 2 real dragons, coiling around King Red Feather's body, causing the pair of divine wings that had just grown out to crack again. Chapter 2941. This scene made King Redwing go crazy, but at the same time, there was a trace of fear. If he really pulled it out, he would probably be seriously injured and it would be difficult for him to recover. Therefore he attacked crazily. His 2 sharp claws carried mysterious runes as he attacked fiercely. Boom. Boom. Lin Xian's body was badly mutilated, and he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. It was obvious that this attack had caused him to be traumatized. However, Lin Xian's eyes glowed even brighter. Shatter. With a furious roar, he forcibly plucked the 2 pairs of wings out of his body. King Redwing fell from the sky and landed on the ground, making a loud sound. Skyfire City was very sturdy. Although it was a battle between top geniuses, it did not break. Below, all the bones in King Redwing's body were broken. It was too tragic. Everyone's scalp went numb. Murong Qingqing and the others also exclaimed, "Brother Lin Xian." They were worried about Lin Xian. Blood flowed on Lin Xian's body. Although it was shining, there were countless cracks on it. It seemed that it would break at any time. Lin Xian was still extraordinary. He stood there, surrounded by divine fire, and used the longevity art to quickly heal his injuries. At the same time, he swallowed heavenly treasures in big mouthfuls. In his hand, he held 2 flaming wings, which were hanging down mercilessly. King Redwing's back was a mess of flesh and blood. There were 2 bloody holes there and blood flowed wildly. It was difficult to heal in a short time. The reason for that was because that strike had injured his source energy. Invincible King? That's all you got? You think you can look down on me with such strength? Lin Xian's voice was cold as he strode forward. Following his footsteps, the cracks on his body quickly healed. Swords circled around him. Bang. He waved his hand and the broken wings in his hand slashed forward. With a clang, it slashed King Redwing's body, sending him flying. King Redwing flew backward and a few more cracks appeared on his body. Damn it! He roared crazily. At this moment he was extremely sullen. He actually brought it and he was seriously injured. He was defeated by his opponent. This was unbearable. He wanted to fight back. However, the 2 divine wings were pulled out, which caused him to receive injuries to his origin. He could not recover in a short time. Although he swallowed the primordial divine medicine, he could only recover about half of his strength. This little bit of strength was not enough to compete with his opponent. Lin Xian waved his palm again, he was sent flying. At the same time he stomped on his opponent's head. With a loud bang, the other party's head was stomped out of shape. King Red Feather raised his head and roared like a madman. A terrifying power burst out once again. This time he burned his bloodline power. Lin Xian was also severely injured. The soles of his feet cracked and countless cracks appeared on his body. His 9 yang divine body almost collapsed again. But he was Lin Xian. Even though the soles of his feet were cracked, he still stomped down. Pa. King Redwing King Lin Xian King's heads Lin's s. At this moment, both Lin Xian King Lin, however, one was standing there like a war god, while the other was being trampled underfoot, suffering all kinds of humiliation. Oh, damn it, let go of our king. The primordial creatures of the Redwing race screamed crazily. They could not accept this scene. Kill him. He is seriously injured. Let's work together and break his 9 divine body. The primordial creatures roared crazily. All of them transformed into their true forms, which were primeval godlings that danced about in the air. They charged towards Lin Xian. In an instant the space around Lin Xian shattered. Bus. Lin Xian waved his arm, and the sword chi in his hand turned into hundreds of fire dragons, sending the primordial creatures flying. Looking at this scene, everyone's eyes widened, and their faces were filled with terror. It was too terrifying. Lin Xian's divine body was now covered with countless cracks, and his body was dyed red with blood. But his combat strength was still so strong. He sent so many primordial creatures flying with a single strike. Especially the primordial geniuses. They looked at Lin Xian and their souls trembled, because they felt that Lin Xian was like a god of war. Damn it, how could this kid be so strong? Many people's faces were gloomy. On the ground, the Red Lunar King, who was being stepped on, was trembling. How could he not be dead? He was about to go crazy. He suspected that Lin Xian was not human at all. He was a demon. A monstrous demon that could not be defeated. Lin Xian retracted his gaze and snorted coldly. He took out countless natural treasures from the black earth. Among them, there was an 8,000-year-old king medicine that he swallowed. When they saw the king medicine, the surrounding people were amazed and their eyes were burning. The Red Lunar King's pupils constricted, and his heart gradually sank. King medicine was an extremely precious existence. Although he was a young invincible genius, he did not have such a thing. It was used to extend one's lifespan, and only those elders whose lifespans were about to dry up would have it. However, Lin Xian actually had such a king medicine. Moreover, he took it out and swallowed it to heal his injuries. Many people's mouths twitched. What a wastrel. If this king medicine was in the outside world, those living fossils would fight over it. Bus. When Lin Xian had fused with his greater success divine body, he had swept through the world and intimidated many of the 10,000 ancient races. At that time, the 10,000 ancient races had handed over a large number of natural treasures to protect themselves, including several king medicines. Now Lin Xian took it out and consumed it. When he swallowed the king medicine, he felt a powerful energy explode in his body, quickly healing his body. The cracks on his 9-yang divine body were quickly healing. His body healed. That was impossible. Damn it, how did he do it? No matter how strong the king medicine was, it was impossible to heal so quickly. This was simply a legend. At this moment, the geniuses of the Scorpio race, the Stone race and the human race, Yi Wudao, Dustless and the others were all shocked. Was this the power of the 9-yang divine body? Yi Wudao's eyes shone. At the side, Dustless frowned. That shouldn't be. He seemed to have an extremely powerful recovery technique. Murong Qingqing, Shinjingqiu and the others heaved a sigh of relief. As for the other geniuses, their faces were terrifyingly dark. Lin Xian was simply unkillable. If this continued, who would be his match? Any last words? Leave them behind. Lin Xian stared at King Redwing and said coldly, "What? You want to kill me?" King Redwing's body trembled and a trace of fear appeared in his eyes. Then it turned into rage. Damn it, you dare to kill me? Don't you know who I am? Do you know what the consequences of killing me are? Indeed, he was not even 500 years old, but his cultivation had reached the level of an invincible king. He was definitely one of the top geniuses of the Redwing race. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.